And we still got you till the end of the month, don't we?
Sure do. There we are.
Are we good?
Give me 1 second.
Oh,
I was going to tell you to unplug it and count to 30 and plug it back in. That's what DirecTV tells me
Yeah,
every
that's
time.
exactly. Drip.
Settle down, calm down, unplug it, count to 30.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for staying with us, and I'm glad to see that people can follow directions. This is the Village of Ruidoso rescheduled regular meeting that we had at 1 o'clock, and then we've had this one rescheduled here at 2 o'clock. It's June 8th, 2021, and it's 2 o'clock. We had the call to order, so if you'll join me, we're going to have a prayer invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Salas, and then if you'll join me in the salute to the American flag.
Gracious God, our Father in heaven, we just come to you with concerned hearts, Father, and we're asking your protection and guidance over the firefighters that are attacking this fire that's taking place right now. And we ask for safety for all people, Lord, our law enforcement, firefighters, first responders, volunteer firefighters, Father, that you just give them wisdom and protection as they attack this fire. And also pray for rain, Lord. Let the rain come and heal the land. Father, we just surrender this meeting to you. We thank you that we have this opportunity as a community to seek your wisdom and understanding in conducting the village business, and also for all the employees and workers, that they are guided and they are protected and given your wisdom and understanding. Bless each of these men and women here representing the village. Give them the clear mind and direct mind to be on the path of righteousness. We pray all this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I salute the flag
of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
All right, thank you, everybody. You can be seated. And I apologize for the folks in the back that can't see. Today's a really special day, the culmination of a lot of hard work. So I would ask for a roll call, please, Mr. Sena.
Mayor Crawford,
Here.
Councilor Salas,
Here.
Councilor Lutterman,
here.
Councilor Eby,
Here.
Councilor Cornelius,
Here.
Councilor Jackson,
Here.
and Councilor Coughlin. And he may be joining in later, Mayor. So we do have a quorum.
I received a text. He was stuck in traffic somewhere.
Thank you.
All right, and now if I can get a motion for the approval of today's agenda and giving the mayor the authority to move the agenda around, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the agenda be approved as presented and that the mayor be given levity to move the items for discussion as needs must.
Second.
Levity. Roll call, please.
It's under the consent.
Mayor
I don't get to vote.
Councilor Jackson, sorry about that. I'm already getting,
I'm not running.
I was speaking to Mr. Jackson here. I was confused. Councilor Jackson, Councilor Eby,
Aye.
Councilor Lutterman,
Aye.
Councilor Salas,
Aye.
Councilor Cornelius.
Aye.
Thank you.
Wow, let's hope we get this a little smoother from now on. We're going to move down to regular items because we've got it's a real pleasure. A lot of hard work has gone in by a lot of different people that are from the community that sat on committees, asked a lot of questions, took a lot of their time. Some secret shoppers, people that I see here in the audience that really gave us their opinion, valued opinions on making a big decision. And so we want to move to item number 1, which is discussion and possible action on the appointment and approval of Chief of Police and administration of the oath of office. So, do we have Anybody want to discuss anything, or do we want to go to a motion?
Well, I'll say something.
Say something.
Mayor, it was a very good process, and out of all the applicants and very well qualified applicants, especially when it got down to the final 7, and it was a hard decision to, weigh out everyone's scores, and I mean, it was just reassurance to me that out here in our country that we have qualified officers that could lead departments of safety. With everything that has been going on over the last year, it was just heartening that we didn't have a lot of community supporting our law enforcement. But lo and behold, Ruidoso, Lincoln County, we uphold the blue. We honor them. We appreciate their service. We stand behind them, or at least I do as a counselor, and want to continue that going here. And I was really pleased when the mayor announced yesterday on the radio that Mr. Chavez, Lawrence Chavez, was selected as our chief of police. So I really appreciate that, Mayor, and all you counselors too, and everyone involved in helping the mayor make that decision, or guiding him, I should say. So, but that's all I have, Mayor, for now.
Okay, anyone else?
I would like, we had over 40 applicants that wanted to be our police chief. And so I think it's really wonderful after looking at everyone and having that chief right here in Ruidoso. And I think that that's really a good thing, and we look forward to you serving the way you've done before. So thanks, Lawrence.
I'll say,
Go ahead.
I want to say congratulations to Lieutenant Lawrence, soon to be chief, Lawrence Chavez, soon to be chief. And these folks up here know, but the first time that I met Mr. Chavez before he was lieutenant was when he stopped me for failure to come to a complete stop and for no seatbelt. So he wrote me up a ticket, and then, but I was running late for an
Look at
event.
Lawrence.
And about, 15 minutes later, I turned the corner at the mayor's going away function, and I run into Mr. Chavez, and he looked at me with this big perplexed look on his face saying, "Who are you?" Didn't I just see you a few minutes ago? But, we do support the blue, and I believe Lieutenant Chavez is a great pick for the chief, and we definitely do support our police department, and I know that he will do an outstanding job with the department, and we look forward to the just everything that he's going to bring to the community. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Oh, just a quick one. I would confirm everything that's been said, but I think in the discussion, this vetting process for the new chief was onerous for the applicants when it was diminished from 40 to, was it 20 with 9 to video, and then one dropped out. And I'm just saying that it wasn't a decision taken lightly.
No.
And I think the applicants showed a lot of strength in having go a whole day of intense scrutiny by different divisions of this board, because they were divided up into different rooms with different questions. And so Lieutenant Chavez was bringing up the tail end of our group, and yet he was as strong as ever and as direct in his answers as he could be. And I appreciate that. And I think there's a lot to be said when you take an individual that is homegrown and you see him coming up through the ranks and his abilities, and then you select him, because they come with what we in business is known as an institutional knowledge, and that can't be replaced.
That's
because
right.
he can hit the ground running as opposed to learning from everybody.
All right, thank you. Any of the other council? Anybody in the audience? Sheriff, you want to give us your 2 cents? We'd love to hear it.
I'd be honored. Do I need to take a mic?
Yeah, if you can come up to that mic, please, sir, so we can make sure everybody knows who's doing what.
Good afternoon, council members in the village of Ruidoso. Hi, I'm Michael Wood. I'm your Lincoln County Sheriff. And first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to a professional law enforcement officer, my friend, Lawrence Chavez, his lovely wife and family, and congratulations to the village for this appointment as well. Known Lawrence for several years now. We've always worked very well together, and I do look forward to the opportunity to continue serving the citizens of this county. I will work closely with you, count on that, and the village can count on that as well. So thank you. And if I had any words, Lawrence, number 2 is different to being number 1. But congratulations to you, my friend. I look forward to this.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Nobody, well, I shouldn't say it in your line of business, but nobody shoots at number 2. They're always aiming at number 1. So you're exactly right, Sheriff. Anyone else want to say something real quick? Because you bet, Chief Gold. And if everybody doesn't know Chief already, he's been a tremendous blessing to the community in the short time we've had him, so.
Well, like you said, Mayor, thank you, Mayor, Council. I've been here over 60 days now, and it's been a great pleasure to serve Ruidoso as an interim police chief. It's been a beautiful experience. I want to say some good things about Lawrence. I got to meet him when I got up here. I knew him before through the professional, on a professional level. We talked over the phone and did a few things, but I think Ruidoso is going to be very well set with a homegrown guy. I think Lawrence has got the potential of being an amazing chief, and I want to tell you that I think he will be able to hit the ground running. And thank you, Lawrence, for all the service that you did for me while I was there. I think you're a professional and an amazing guy, so good luck in the future. And Sheriff is right, number 1 is going to be a lot tougher.
All right, thanks, Chief Gold. Anyone else? Okay, I won't call on. Go ahead, President Aguilar. And I won't call on anybody unless you're waving your hand at me. I don't want to embarrass anybody.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just say it's an honor to be invited here today. Hearing everybody's words, it gives me a real good feeling inside, because I've known Lawrence for a long time, and from what we do in leadership, the people we appoint, I call them the bridge gappers. They build bridges between communities, and that's what I feel with your decision today. You guys, by appointing Lawrence, it really helps us where if we needed you, you'd be there. If you needed us, we'd be there. And that's what it's all about in leadership. And, I'm always proud to see you guys promote within, and that's something I believe in. We always get a lot of great applicants, but we cannot overlook our community, and that's one thing I'm honored to see you guys do. And I look very, very to the future to see what big things you're going to do, Lawrence. And we'll be following you guys. And like I said, it's an honor to be here to represent the tribe and just to show you guys my support, as it's needed these days, with everything going on with, hopefully we're moving forward and, we can rebuild together. Thank you.
President, we appreciate it. Hey, well, I don't even think we need a vote, but it's just a formality, I think, at this point. But if there's nothing else, then we'll ask for a motion to approve, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the appointment and approval of Chief of Police and Administrator of the Oath of Office for presently Lieutenant Chavez.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, no other discussion. Roll call, please. Mr. Sena.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius. Thank you.
All right, Chief. Congratulations, Chief. Come on.
Thank you, Chief. Carrie, get up here and take pictures of those guys.
You know what, we'll do the oath of office over here. Please forgive me, I know it's not Halloween, it's only jacket Adam.
I didn't loan him mine.
That's the other one across town, so we were moving. So anyway, you want to take this so it's a little bit easier to follow along. Okay. This oath of office for the state of New Mexico, County of Lincoln, I, Lawrence T. Chavez,
I, Lawrence T. Chavez,
having been appointed to the office of Chief of Police
having been appointed to the office of Chief of Police
for the village of Ruidoso in the county of Lincoln,
for the village of Ruidoso in the county of Lincoln,
state of New Mexico,
state of New Mexico,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
the Constitution and laws of the state of New Mexico,
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
and faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Big. Thank you. All right. Everybody's a photographer now.
Put up the phone.
For the record.
All right. Everybody got, I'm gonna sign this for you, Lawrence, right here. And then we'll get you to sign it. Sign it there. We'll get Mr. Santa to frame it for you. Now then, we'd like for, I guess if you guys step over here, and we'd like the new chief to address the village. And then if his wife, this is your shot, Carrie, if you want to say anything.
Mr. Mayor, Manager Dodge, Council, citizens of Ruidoso. I am humbled and honored to be standing here before every single one of you today, accepting this position. I truly honor the support of the village, the community, the council, the mayor, Mr. Dodge. I can't say enough good things. Everything, all the support that I've gotten, I promise you I will do the best of my ability to get the department where it needs to be. I want to thank my staff that is here. Without them, I wouldn't be standing here. You guys are amazing. Sheriff Wood, President Aguilar, everybody that showed support. I can't wait to build and foster those relationships even more and work with every department within the village and just have a successful village police department and, you know, be part of all the great things that are happening here.
Thank you, Chief, and you better get used to this public speaking because you'll be here every month like the rest of us.
Got it.
And so you'll be getting many, many phone calls and all the things that you normally, and you've done them for years, and so we appreciate that. So, Ms. Chavez, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, Mayor, Council, thank you so much for this opportunity. I obviously think he's the best candidate. And he's got his support at home and with this community, and so I think he's going to do a great job.
Thank you very much. We do too. All right, appreciate you, Chief. All right, well, that was the fun part, so we'll let you get back to work, and what are we supposed to do now?
Oh,
Oh, yeah, totally forgot.
You gotta go over to the mayor.
Oh, yeah, if you could come back over here first. The council took up a collection, and then Councilor Eby purchased you a Bond Arms Roughneck 45 ACP, and I want you to look at it, you get to touch it and hold it, but you don't get to take it with you, provided that you can pass a background check. So we're hoping that that you can do that. I mean,
Hoping you can open the case.
what is it? Ah. All right, there you go, Chief.
Awesome.
You can turn around and show. I don't know if that's a, what you call, is that an ankle or is that his throwaway?
Where he wants to put it.
Anyway, that'll be yours as soon as we get the background.
Awesome.
Hope you enjoy it. Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah, did we pin the badge on there? As you can tell, I've not done this very often, so. And hopefully in my tenure, I never have to do it again. Are you gonna have your wife do it? Well, if somebody gets poked, it'll be the right person, wouldn't it? Here, you go ahead, ma'am.
Stick 'em good, Carrie. Stick 'em good.
He has a vest on, so I can't.
Oh, man.
It's got loops on the shirt, so. There you go. All right, looks good. Thanks, man.
Yep.
All right, that was awesome.
Oh,
And
and
somebody's bear just got here. So, and now you're the sergeant of arms and all these other wonderful jobs.
Chief. I'm gonna give this.
All right, so outgoing chief, and this isn't all of them, but I saw that you really liked we were giving these away not too long ago, and that you'd made a comment to somebody that you liked it and you wished that you could have one. So I was going to give you one of mine, but none of mine were this big or nice, and so this was one of the things that we want to give you before you leave, and so I wanted to do it today. So Chief, this is yours from one of our local businesses here in town, and this is just a small token of our appreciation
Yes,
for everything that
absolutely.
you've done. You've done it
so much.
So you got one of those. There you go. All right.
Good job. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Yvonne, for going and getting that, and thanks for someone who texted her. Is there anything else I've forgotten? No? Okay, then we will go back up to our consent regular items. We have 14. This is when all the work starts, so all the fun people get to leave. Thanks for coming. Item number one is approval of governing body minutes, April 27th to the 28th, workshop meeting, May 11th, 2021, regular meeting, May 20th, 2021, special meeting, June 1st, 2021, workshop meeting. Item number two is ratification and consent to sublease real property that forms the basis of the lease agreement with Ruidoso Snowplay and Ice Skating, Inc. to Screaming Eagle Enterprises, LLC. Number three is ratification of memorandum of agreement between the New Mexico Department of Transportation, NMDOT, and the Village of Ruidoso for the New Mexico 48 Ruidoso Sidewalk Maintenance Improvement Project. Item number four, adoption of resolution 2021-26, a resolution authorizing Public Employee Retirement Association. Oh, we're taking that one off.
Wow, he's going to make the
I will.
motion after
Okay.
you read it all.
Adoption of resolution 2021-26, a resolution authorizing Public Employee Retirement Association, para pickup for municipal general member contributions, municipal fire member contributions, and municipal police member contributions. Item number five is adoption of resolution 2021-27, a resolution authorizing disposal of surplus property. Item number six, approval of memorandum of understanding between the Village of Ruidoso, the County of Lincoln, County Emergency Services, City of Ruidoso Downs, and the Mescalero Apache Tribe for exchange of fire protection and rescue response. Item number seven, approval of intergovernmental grant agreement number 22-624-4000-0068 with the State of New Mexico Aging and Long-Term Services Department for salaries and operational budget items for fiscal year 2021-2022 for the RSVP Community Center Coordinator in the amount of $35,000. Approval, number eight is approval of award of RFP 2021-011P to Miller Engineers, Inc., DBA Souter Miller and Associates for the Pine Cliff Subdivision, Street Water and Sewer System Improvements. Item number nine, approval of joint funding agreement number 21 RGJFA 23 with the United States Department of Interior, United States Geological Survey for the operation of USGS streamflow and precipitation gauges. Item number 10, approval of joint funding agreement number 21 RGJFA 35 with the United States Department of Interior, Geological Survey USGS for a project titled Periodic Surveys of North Fork Eagle Creek and North Fork Eagle Creek Stream Gauge 083-87550 to Eagle Creek below South Fork Stream Gauge 08387600. Item number 11, approval of award of IFB number 2020-007B to General Hydronics LLC in agreement for the construction of Fault Well H 1979-S10 and Brown Well H 1497S well improvements in the amount of $1,349,018.87, including gross receipts tax. Item number 12 is approval of contract for goods and services with Henninghausen, Olson, and McRae LLP for professional legal services and task order RFP number 2021-012P-01 for legal services and support for water rights and other water resource issues in the amount of $80,000, including gross receipts tax. Item number 13, approval of agreement with HUB Hub International Insurance Services, Inc. for professional insurance broker services. Item number 14, approval of acceptance of final change order number 3 with Roper Construction, Inc. for a deduction of $2,100.94 or $2,278.21, including gross receipts tax, and closeout of Close Road Bridge Replacement Project. Okay, do we have any comments? Any discussion? Well, it's obvious that you guys do more than just one meeting a month. So thank you for all your hard work, all the extra time that you've spent, all the meetings to get to these 14 items that we can consent on. So do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the consent regular items with the following changes: that item number 12, consent item number 12, be moved and discussed as regular item number 10, and that consent item number 4 be moved and discussed as regular item number 11, and I so move.
Second.
And item number 10, you said? Okay, do we have any further discussion? Nope. Okay, motion, roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next portion is our public input. It's limited up to first hour of the meeting in compliance with the Attorney General's Office mandate regarding the Open Meetings Act during COVID-19 state of emergency. The governing body will accept public input via email at clerk@ruidoso-nm.gov. Public comments must be submitted no later than 2 hours prior to the meeting and will be distributed to governing body members for review.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, the clerk's office did not receive any public input.
Okay, thank you very much. And we'll open it up to those in attendance today. Is there any input from the public today? Did I hear somebody say what a wonderful job on those sidewalks?
Yeah.
That was a great job. Anybody? Nope? Okay, then we'll close that portion of it out. And we'll move on to mayoral reports and presentation. And we will move on to, this is a fun part, that we had talked about all the new Ruidoso employees. So we do a real quick deal, not to, if you're here, not to embarrass you at all, just so people can see you, you can see us, and so you feel more comfortable with knowing who we are, okay? And Maggie Barr, short-term rental administrative assistant.
There's
Right there, okay.
All right, Maggie.
She was date of hire was 4/26/2021. Welcome aboard, Maggie. Thank you very much. That's become a very important department. All of them are, but this one's new, and this one helps us generate revenue. Ian Belen, did I say that right? Telecommunications officer? Yes, sir. All right. Well, thank you. Hopefully you approve of the new chief. You missed your opportunity to speak before, so now you have to hold your peace. But anyway, good luck to you, and hopefully you love working at the Village of Ruidoso, and we're looking forward to some changes and eventually getting into your new digs here pretty soon. So thank you for coming aboard, and good luck.
Thank you.
Matthew Laguerre, did I get that one almost right? Laguerre, okay, Matthew Laguerre, Parks Maintenance Worker. Welcome aboard. He was hired May 25th of 2021.
Yay.
Welcome, thank you for coming aboard. Glad you're here. Okay, now then we have temporary cashiers, lifeguards, and I know that maybe all of them aren't going to be here today. Javier Picasso, Ronald Coach Hernandez, I didn't see him. Isabella Bartz, Itzel Gutierrez, Jocelyn Romero.
Right there.
All right there. Welcome, Jocelyn. She's going to be the cashier, and she was hired May 28th. Hopefully you have a great summer and you enjoy what you're doing. Have you worked there before?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you have, so you're an old hand at this. That's why you're in charge of the money. Okay, good. Well, welcome aboard. Hopefully it's a good summer. Leslie Madrano, Jennifer Lively, Lily Herring. Awesome. She's also a cashier, and she was hired also on the 28th. And have you worked with the village before there?
For 3 years.
For 3 years, okay. Well, you think the mayor would remember a name or two. I apologize. Good luck to both of you ladies, and enjoy your summer. And it's already started, I know. We already heard that the other day. When are we going to the pool?
Yeah.
Bradley Belcher? No, see, he'll be a cashier also. So welcome aboard, everyone. Hopefully you have a very busy.
Daniel, I forgot your last name. Daniel. David, I'm sorry.
You're working there, David?
Yes, sir.
Okay, they don't have a name down for you.
What's your last name, David?
Klein Kinnick.
Klein Kinnick.
Mayor, we do have a couple other employees
Yeah,
back
we
there as well.
do. We-
Okay. Klein Kinnick. How do you spell that?
KLEIN-KINNICK.
Hey. And you're going to be
Lifeguard.
lifeguard,
Nice.
okay? If there's any other employees
Yeah,
standing out there, please stand up.
Stand up.
Oh, so I thought Romy had already been hired on. I didn't know. So Romy, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Roby Carr, and I'm a lifeguard there and pool manager, forgive me, pool manager, so, yes.
Way to go.
Thank you.
While I was there,
Finally.
yes.
Okay, young lady, what's your name?
My name's Alyssa Sagari Yoshimura, and I'm a lifeguard.
And say your name one more time.
Alyssa Sagari Yoshimura.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love hearing it. I just can't say it. Yes, sir. What's your name?
I'm Alexander Akins, and I'm going to be a lifeguard.
Awesome.
Great.
All right. Well, welcome aboard, guys. Hopefully you're going to have a fun summer. And, I know the kids, this is their big deal. You remember when you all were little kids, how you couldn't wait to get to the pool. So just remember that. We want to always be safe and be very vigilant. You have a super important job. So protect our little ones. We thank you for doing that. And
That was my first job here at the
that was it
pool.
your first job?
Yeah.
And I think Alyssa's worked with us before as well.
Oh, have you? So you've worked with us before?
Aw.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
And so you liked it enough you came back, I hope so.
Yeah. It's a nice tan, too.
Oh, yeah, it helps. You get paid for tenants. All right, well, thank you guys very much.
Yeah,
And
thank
if
you.
I may add, Mayor, being at the pool as often as I am now and then seeing these young men and women working, I mean, they do an outstanding job of the safety of all our patrons at the pool. They're very polite, willing to help, and it's a good run ship over there. I haven't been to the Whibbit yet. That water's way too cold for me, so. But anyway, it just feels really good knowing that all these employees are dedicated to their work and just, I know they'll keep it up. So,
Good.
so good job, you guys.
Way to go.
Thank you. Then we'll move on to retirements. And so is Mr. Stinson, Ricky Stinson here?
Oh,
I don't see him.
He retired.
Yeah, he's gone.
he's retired.
They said his retirement date was May 31st, so see y'all later. Ricky started at the village November 10th, 2014, and he worked through May 31st, 2021. So we get him a nice little plaque. Of course, for retiring, you'll have a pension. And it says, Distinguished Service Award presented to Ricky Stinson, November 10, 2014 to May 31st, 2021, in appreciation of your years of hard work and dedicated service to the community and the village of Ruidoso. Enjoy your retirement. So we'll make sure that Ricky gets this.
Nice.
Okay? All right.
Every day is Saturday.
Every day is Saturday. Is that what, you still believe that, don't you? Yes, you're free to go and go to work, whatever you need to do. You don't have to hang around here anymore. Okay, so we'll move on. So new appointments and boards, and I think that, see you guys, appreciate you coming in. That I've been getting asked several times today, yesterday, a couple of counselors have called me on this, other citizens about, have we canceled the speakers in Midtown? Have you canceled the speakers?
I haven't canceled the.
I haven't.
No, we have not canceled the speakers in Midtown. There was just a little issue with procurement that we needed to get straightened out. That went through a process through lodger's tax, through the council, so we just don't change things on a whim. It's just that we had to change. I don't know why the questions keep coming up, but usually I don't address rumors or whatever, but this one seems so prolific that I just wanted to address it. So the speaker system is still on point. I think we're working on some new lighting. So we're talking about doing them both at the same time. Oh, I didn't even see you come in, man. Matt, you were hiding in the back.
You got the 85-inch TV.
Oh, behind, yeah. Yeah, that's nice. And you realize just how bad you look on TV, so, when you're here. So, since I have this, I have a little ability to move it around. So would you like to come up and introduce yourself, since you're going to be the new Ruidoso Midtown Association Chair, President, Big Poobah? This little lady's been running her own business downtown for quite a while. Most people know you and her family.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me up here this evening, or this afternoon, for a quick introduction. My name is Kendra King, and I went to high school. I actually went to 8th grade in this hall with Matt and Samantha, and I've been here. I have my oldest daughter is in high school here, and I went to high school here, and then I actually worked for the lady, Deb, in Midtown, and I bought myself a job there about 10 years ago. And so I've been in Midtown for actually coming up on 11 years now. And then I'm vice president and looking forward to running for the presidential seat on the Midtown Association board. And I've been doing that for 3 years now. And that's been an honor. There's to watch the growth that the organization has brought to downtown, considering that I've been here since I was in high school. And then just in the last 4 years, I mean, there's not any empty buildings downtown. They're all in use, and that's really exciting to see. So I know that the organization has contributed a role to that, as well as the just the local community coming together. So thank you for having me here today. And I was going to back Matt on his presentation this afternoon. He's got some great information for y'all, and so thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to Matthew's presentation, but I saw you and didn't know if you were going to be included, but we appreciate all the stuff you did do and looking forward to that. Okay, we'll move on to village manager's report. Wait a minute, I got something else.
Boards.
New boards and commissions. Let me move it down here. And this is an important part also, because we have so many wonderful volunteers, and I don't see any of them here. But to the Lodgers Tax Committee, I'd like to appoint Mike Cheney. And those of you that don't know Mike, he's a banker that has moved into town. He and his wife, Dina, have bought Win Place and Show. They're the axe throwing nuts down there. They're great people, hardworking people, but he's agreed to serve on lodger's tax.
Cutting edge.
There you go. And also for the library board is Julianne Lamb. She's going to start on that pretty quick. And then I know our own economic development director, Samantha Mendez, is going to be working with her to tutor her to get her up to speed. So she would like to serve on planning and zoning. So I need a motion to accept those new commissioners, please. We can do them both at the same time.
Mayor, I move that
we approve the appointments of Mike Cheney to the Lodgers Tax Committee and Julianne Lamb to the Library Board.
Second.
Roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Counselor Salas.
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Counselor Jackson.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. This is someone else wondering about the fire, that the highway's closed. So we'll do an update here shortly when we get more information. We'll do a village manager report, a report from all village departments.
Mayor, we have submitted a written report, but at this time, I'd like to go ahead and call up Samantha to give us an update on our processes of engaging the community in regards to cannabis.
Right.
And she's going to talk a little bit about one of our initiatives, and then we're open to discussion on other outreach type of, that the governing body would like to see us conduct, so.
Samantha, would you take one big step to your left so the camera's focused? No, and you can just move the whole doodah over.
I'll move the podium.
Or let Zach help you out. We got a new nifty little thing here.
It's okay
where
if
they
they can't
show
see
the
my
council,
face.
and then we've got an inset here so the people can see you.
Is that a good angle?
No. Okay,
Is
go
it
ahead.
okay? Okay. Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. I'll just start all the way where this began. So once our legislators adopted or enacted, I don't know if that's the right word, the Cannabis Regulation Act, that spurred us to start working to implement that into our village code. So I met with Councilor Eby and Zach Cook, our attorney, and we pulled out the language as it relates to commercial cannabis selling. And we pulled out the definitions and plugged it in, as well as where it would be in the uses of our zoning code. At that time, we had plugged it in into all of our commercial zones, minus the C3, which is our Main Street district. From there, we took it to the Planning Commission to have them weigh in. Once I brought that to the commissioners, it was identified that there was not a general consensus among them. Some of them didn't want to see cannabis recreationally at all in Ruidoso, and that's not an option by the state statute. Some of them just wanted to see more education and outreach, and so that's where we kind of got the ball rolling and decided that we need to have more community engagement on this issue because it's not only a health, safety, and welfare that we usually do for zoning, but it's an economic impact for many of our business owners and landowners. And so from there, we formed a steering committee composed of mental health counselors, our fire chief, police, realtors, chamber of commerce, business owners in each of the district.
Enthusiasts.
Yes, a gentleman that's worked in the business for over 15 years in Canada. We did have one representing the cannabis, the medical industry already. And we had RMA have representation, and so we tried to be really inclusive of our list of stakeholders that we had. We had this meeting yesterday at 1:30. We met for nearly an hour and a half, and from that we were compiling a report. I had one of my admin aides here documenting what was being said. And so she's working on that now, getting it typed up, because we are entering into a contract with a company called Flash Vote. What this company does is that you provide them with the dialogue of what came out of your community meeting. And from there, they have professionals that will draft up a survey to put out to your community. They have professionals that do analytics and non-biased questioning. So village staff were completely out of it. Like I said, she's typing up everything that was stated, just not, with people's names in it. It's just the running dialogue. And so they'll be able to compose our survey, and Carrie Gladden with the agency Once we're in contract, we'll put this out on village social media channels and our website to try to get people to register. And what it'll say is, do you have 1 minute to make Ruidoso a better place? And so any of our property owners, stakeholders, business owners, and residents will have an opportunity to register to be selected to participate in surveys over the next year. And these surveys can be for anything, CDBG projects, they can be for, our Moon Mountain Master Plan, anything that we have going. So over the next year, we'll have the ability to use this service. And it'll have this bank of people that have volunteered to take the survey. So they'll be selected at random, and we'll be able to distinguish those that were sent the survey to complete, as opposed to if I received the survey and then shared the link with 15 of my family members to complete. So we'll be able to see who actually completed it, as well as the results of those that were shared the link. So we'll be able to distinguish the difference. And the best thing that I thought was that after the surveys ended, the results will be shared with all of those that participated. I know a lot of times we get kickback that they don't know what the results were because they didn't tune back into the village council meeting, so they'll have that ability. Yesterday we had our first meeting. We'll work with the company to get the survey out in the next few weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and come back together as a group and go over the results and bring that to council and go from there.
Okay. Did you get any just real comments or concerns, or was it seem more business driven? I mean, what did you get?
The general consensus in the room was that they were supportive of it. In all districts, some people were concerned with density. They didn't want to see, 4 or 5 in a row. And so I think that'll be an interesting challenge. But we don't know what the state's going to allow or not allow as far as how many licenses per area. Another thing that they did like, I had mentioned to them that instead of the business going in as a permissible permitted use, they could go in as a conditional use. So say a recreational cannabis business wants to go in, they'd come before Planning Commission and we'd evaluate the health, safety, and welfare and traffic impacts to the neighborhood prior to just allowing them to set up shop. So that was one option that seemed favorable to most.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Sam, did y'all talk about the Midtown area at all? I mean, like saying no to, did the people there think that Midtown was a good place for?
Yes, the general consensus was that that they thought it should be allowed, and to basically let the free market work itself out. Those that, if it came in with too many, and they'd just eventually go out of business on their own. But they were concerned about density. They didn't want to see multiple shops, like 3 in a row or something down there. So it was a great conversation.
Because in reality, where else would you put them?
I know.
In the Downs?
At the Y.
Well, and that's what some people were worried that, we were keeping it out. But as Sam stated, the law doesn't give us that ability to do it. It's about density, hours of operation, things like that. So do you feel like you got a lot of input, dialogue out of this group?
Yes, we had some great dialogue, diverse group of people. There were a few that didn't speak up much and some that spoke quite a bit that had some in-depth knowledge that kind of went over my head when they were talking about some of the products. But I think overall it was good. One thing that was mentioned from the owner that's already in the medical cannabis is that they're being pushed to put a consumption site in addition to the retail space. So that's hadn't been mentioned anywhere in the documentation that I've read.
By consumption, you mean that they smoke it on premises?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so there's nothing that we've seen or you've seen yet that says those with a cannabis medical license will receive a retail license?
How does that work, Zach? We haven't seen that language. But I feel like that's why they're all trying to come in now as medical, so that it'll just transition next year into recreational, but we haven't seen that.
Okay. Yes, sir, Counselor.
Mayor,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Counselor, go ahead.
Which IR or OR? Mayor?
You.
Okay. I was just going to follow up.
you.
There are still a lot of questions, and I think I told you yesterday that last week I called the primary sponsor of the bill, and I said, hey, we're really struggling trying to figure out what we can and can't do. You know, the language is very broad. It just in general terms, time, place, and manner restriction, that's constitutional law 101 when it comes to commercial free speech. So, and that's what the bill says. The village can regulate time, place, and manner, put reasonable restrictions. Well, that's generally the rule in commercial speech, that villages can do that, municipalities can do that. And so he said, I don't know, he told me that he got a very similar phone call from the city of Albuquerque just a few days before. They're going through the same process and have the same questions. And he directed them to the Regulation and Licensing Department's secretary. And she said, basically, you know, the best I can do is tell you that we're planning on and hoping to adopt the first set of rules in July, and that should give you more guidance. So there are still a lot of questions around the state.
One additional concern that came out of the meeting was water consumption. I guess there's micro growers that can have up to 100 plants. And then with the residential household being allowed 12 plants, people were worried about how much water would be consumed with the growing of cannabis plants.
Okay. And do we have any dates when, so I know June's is some kind of date this month and next March?
I'm not sure what the June of this year is. Is it possession, perhaps?
I think.
June 24th is for-
It was for possession,
An individual can have up to 2 ounces.
2 ounces.
Okay. And so the rulemaking process is going on right now. And all of that, you know, they're basically building a brand new division of the Regulation and Licensing Department. Right now, Regulation and Licensing houses like the alcohol division, financial institutions, realtors, you know, those are different divisions. Now they're creating this new cannabis control division, and that will be up. And that date that you're talking about in 2022 is when that should be up. All the rules should be passed, and applications will be being reviewed and issued.
Their website says no later than April 1st, 2022, that they'll be able to start selling commercially.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments, questions?
I've got one
Yes,
more
ma'am.
comment to piggyback off of what we were talking about a while ago. I guess what I was talking about is Midtown, you know, just the section that people walk and kids walk and everything. I mean, Meacham, outside of Meacham or down the street, but that's what I've had a lot of concerns about, people saying they don't want it in Midtown.
Well, and some people, when they say marijuana, they think that a lot of people go sitting around smoking pot.
Right.
I don't think that's what we're even talking about, because the legal places that I've seen and gone in, they don't let just you walk in off the street and
Right, no,
shop for a donut.
absolutely.
They usually have some security there. You go in a couple at a time, you know, and you come out with whatever you've got in a bag. So,
Right.
and I understand that too, you know, but we're just limited on where it can be and how close it can be, and to certain homes and businesses and things like that.
I just felt that I need to clarify myself.
Okay.
Mayor, this is for Zach. I've sort of made the assumption, right or wrong, that they're going to have to comply with all of our smoking laws now. You can't smoke outside, you can't be walking around doing it. And sometimes you have to go smoke in the school bus. But is that a true story or unknown so far?
No, I mean, as far as fire restrictions and our fire rules, it doesn't specifically say anything about that in the bill.
I am hopeful that it will be addressed in rule. But if it's even not addressed in rule, I would not encourage the village to back away from that and, to step away from those rules. I think that's, obviously, that would be the council's, if somebody were to challenge, if you were to limit or to restrict smoking marijuana based on what level of fire restrictions on, that could, you could foresee that going into court, somebody challenging that, but I think that would be considered a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction on the use of.
And you can't smoke in restaurants. There's a lot of rules on.
And the bill actually does reference or refer back to, or not back to, but refers to the, the Indoor Smoking Act that the legislature passed 20 years ago or whatever, with regard to indoor smoking and the penetration of buildings and all those kind of things. And so the bill, acknowledges that set of laws exists and that anything going forward with regard to the use of marijuana will have to comply with the Indoor Clean Air Act.
Okay, thanks.
Well, I think that, the state needs to, I would assume just go ahead and get get this thing ironed out, get all the rules and regulations as far as the licensing go. But if I remember correctly, reading the bill, as far as the smoking goes, is that it is unlawful for, say, the patios as long as the smoke cannot penetrate inside a neighboring business, and that would be defined against the Johnson Clean Air Act. So it doesn't say anything about it being outdoors or that being illegal. But I can see that the difference would be also that there might be no smoking in public, let's say during the fire season, but that would be somebody's choice to go in and buy a pack of cigarettes, whereas, and then they could smoke it at home or wherever. But here, when you're affecting a business that's already established that has that particular license, then now you're actually taking business or affecting their business. So that would come under, I think, a totally different umbrella, looking at it that way. But I'd like to thank Samantha for all the hard work she's done on this when Zach and Samantha and I met the first time. And that was, of course, just coming out of just the past legislation and getting the ball rolling on addressing this issue and looking at it. And I want to thank her for all the hard work and all the administration, people behind the scenes, that names I haven't heard that have been working on this, because it is going to be a lot of public outreach, a lot of input, and then ultimately we have to take all that, I guess, just kind of digest it all and make a decision. But in the end, I believe that we'll all make what we believe is morally and also the proper decision for the village.
Yes.
Just to share with you all what I had asked the stakeholders, I'll just read a brief introduction that I gave to them, and this is the questions that were asked and how we derived our report. Our meeting purpose was the legalization of cannabis has far-reaching consequences for many different stakeholder groups. At the local jurisdiction level, government entities need to understand their constituents' concerns about public safety. Cannabis consumers are interested in the convenience of obtaining their product, the legality of home grows, and the assortment of products that will be made available to them. Law enforcement concerns include the potential of increased crime, changes in how resources will be allocated, the effect on the criminal justice system, criminal prosecution, and the education of the law enforcement to the community. So all of our stakeholders were asked to be a part of the process and to have a voice as we develop our local regulations to ensure a successful outcome. So I asked them, one, do you all have a community-driven vision for recreational cannabis and social equity? Two, what direct impacts are you concerned about to our community? Three, what benefits do you see from the employment and economic benefits of the recreational cannabis industry? 4, do you feel we should conduct a ratio of dispensaries to community population to limit the number of commercial cannabis businesses? 5, what are your concerns as it relates to public health and public safety? 6, which zones, I provided them a zoning map, each of them had a printout. Which zones do you feel would be most appropriate for the sale of recreational cannabis? Which zones do you feel would be most appropriate for consumption of recreational cannabis? In the last questions, I just asked them if they had any other suggestions for us as we draft our cannabis ordinance.
How many attended, or how many are on the task force, I should ask?
There were 18.
18, okay.
Well, that's a lot to come.
Yeah, I was surprised. Usually you expect like 3/4 or half, and everybody except one attended. So it was great. But then in addition to the stakeholders, the outside agencies, we had myself, Officer Mentor, Chief Thetford that participated.
Good. Any other questions for Samantha, or?
Oh, no question. I just had another comment on the medical marijuana there, that if I remember correctly in reading the piece of legislation that was passed, is that a community cannot restrict an existing medical marijuana dispensary from obtaining a commercial license. So if one's established, if that's true, then if one is already established, then you cannot. So that's something that we need to examine in the near future and long-term future, as far as whatever we're going to be doing and what we feel is best for the village. Because if I remember correctly, is that correct there, Zach? That was written into the language. So if there is one established, then you cannot, because they've already, they have it written into the piece of legislation that they shall be protected and that they are in line to become a recreational dispensary. So with that, then, if a medical dispensary is established, then you cannot do anything about that as far as future ordinances or whatever, because they're already established, and then they could, so then they have the right to move into recreational.
Mayor, can I have you? So do we have anything in ordinance that stipulates how many medical marijuana no, okay.
Currently, they're going in as pharmacies.
So within this year, people could start just putting in the pharmacies waiting for, okay, got it. Okay.
We have had secondary businesses come about that we're seeing conditional use permits for head shops. And then we've seen business registrations to sell the soil and lights for growing at home, so.
Okay.
Anything else?
Byproducts.
Go ahead, Manager.
Mayor, I'm going to go ahead and get Chief Thetford on the phone so that he can give us an update on the fire.
Okay.
She can text me that they evacuated High Country Lodge. That hotel right there. That they were evacuating High Country Lodge.
Thought they did that.
I thought that was earlier, right, but
Yeah.
One of my guys said they had closed Alto Cafe.
it
Yeah.
did.
He must have got busy. I was waiting for the call. Mayor, I did want to report over the last, 7 days or so, out at Grindstone Lake, we've had right about 816 vehicles go through. And, the Whibbit, they got it all installed. There's some additional pieces that they're adding this week. But they have started marketing that, so we should see now that it's going to start warming up, that people are going to start coming out and, utilizing that. Here's Chief Thetford. Hello, Chief, you want to give us an update?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that. So right now we're working with a dozer and an air operation. We're not having much luck. I was just on with the state and air attack. We're roughly, I'm not real sure on GPS yet. We haven't had time to do it, but we're probably in the ballpark of about 30 to 40 acres. There's 3 different lengths, and the wind up here is blowing about 30 miles an hour now, 35. We're having a real hard time trying to get it contained. We're 0% contained. We've got about 60 firefighters. up here working on it. Like I said, the village dozer's working. We have a BIA helicopter up here. And in the next hour, we're going to be trying to make a decision to either get a team in here or another air attack before it goes over the ridge. And if it goes over the ridge where it's out from the ball fields, we're going to be there on West Gavilan where a couple of structures are. So that's kind of our trigger right now. Unfortunately, the wind has caused us about 40 spot fires, 50 spot fires that we're just having trouble catching. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, so Chief, will we be calling in some more support, or is that not an option?
Yes, sir. We've got about an hour on our trigger point for the dozer to tie in the line. If we can't tie in the line, we'll have to contact the state to get air attack and possibly a Type 3 team in here to give us a hand because we're getting too spread out. And we've got Mescalero, Carlsbad, Benito, Glencoe. We have several departments here, but we're 4-6 hours into this, and everybody's just starting to get tired.
Okay, what's the wait time once you call in the air support?
We've got that's who I was on the phone with when I missed the call, and we're waiting on a call back to see when they can launch to get air attack up here and get eyes on it. And with the air attack, the helicopter's dropping water, but with the air attack, we'll be able to get some slurry and get some mud on it, and that's going to be more effective. Is just depending if it's available, and with the winds right now, that's the problem with flying with a fixed wing.
Okay, so as of right now, they're going to call you back and tell you what their ETA is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Chief, what are the evacuations, or if any?
So we evacuated High Country Lodge there, and of course the area from the ball fields and the Shell station. But other than that, there's been no evacuations. We did clear out Alto Lake because we're using that to dip water out of for the bucket drops, and that's the extent of the evacuations.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Mayor, moving on, just a couple of highlights that I want to talk about is, first of all, on behalf of the employees, I'd just like to thank the mayor and council for the, passing of the pay plan. And, administratively, we've started to prep to make sure that the evaluations are lining up with the pay plan and the processes and whatnot. So we will be meeting with the directors on Thursday to implement it. We've, the HR department has worked over the last week or so to make sure that all our procedures are in place. So, once again, thank you for that. And we'll make sure that we sit down and go through everybody's evaluation and make sure the goals and objectives are outlined and everybody understands it. So far, the HR department did meet with a group of admin aides, and the admin aides seem pretty excited about the new pay plan and the process. That's what they kind of expressed yesterday afternoon. So
good.
I want to thank you for that. I just wanted to follow up that, yes, we did find some procurement issues with the speaker project. And
that's right. I forgot you were talking about it.
Yeah, and Rodney has taken corrective actions. We're not going to be using the vendor that was identified. There was no installation that was included in it either. It was over what's considered a large purchase.
Well, and that was part of it. It was over the threshold amount that has to come to council. And then in that amount, there was no installation, and we found out from checking around that we could get the same stuff and install for.
Yes, and have a sound tech to
do the installation.
Yes.
Instead of Councilor Salas, he volunteered.
Yep, in that bucket truck that Rodney's getting.
And one of the good things that actually came out of it, the mayor and council, you all did approve the lighting project. We've gone back out and we've engaged a local contractor that is going to be able to reduce the cost on the lighting. So we're going to be going through, a series of meetings with them in the next couple of weeks to talk about the Midtown Lighting Project and how we're going to approach that.
Nice.
And then install the speaker system and the lighting at the same time. So, that project has been funded, and because of the overage on part of it, I think if we work it together, we'll be able to bring down that cost and stay within budget.
Mr. Mayor, Tim, did that include, or was it to include new poles or just new lights?
We are looking at all new infrastructure,
New
including
poles.
the poles and the lighting.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, we have provided a written report, and if there's any questions about it, if you feel free to ask any questions.
It was lengthy. Does
Yes,
anybody,
it was.
does anybody have any questions of the manager?
No,
It was inclusive. I appreciated it.
yes.
It's highly detailed.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, manager, and we'll move on to reports from municipal officials, and we'll start with Gary Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This will be brief because a lot is happening with the village right now. And it's just nice to not be able to make left-hand turns in the village in the summer. And it's been a while since we've had that. It looks like most of the merchants are getting packed. People are complaining about the wait times of restaurants, so there are people in the restaurant. I'm just happy to see it. I'm also happy to see the kids out playing ball, either organized or not, riding their bikes. It's just refreshing. I mean, just to see the village get back to normal. That's what I have.
Thanks, sir. And to that point, the businesses are asking again, we've got to address the workforce housing, affordable housing issue to be able to get people to come to the village. They said,
Yep.
there's just nowhere for them to live, and we all understand that. Councilor Cornelius.
You're right about the housing and the employees. I know everybody's hurting. I went to the bank the other day and there was a note, sorry, we're closed from 11 to 1 because we can't get employees.
Yeah.
And that's nuts. But in the utility or the capital projects meeting the other day, they said SAK has finished the lining project. They're still having to do some point repairs and some manhole work, subcontractors are, but it's nice to have that done.
Yes.
Karen's working on the stuff for the next couple of little projects. Finally,
Yeah. A little anticlimactic,
yeah.
you think some bells and whistles or somebody jumping out of a cake or something.
I'm sure we can still mess up the traffic some way, but
Sure.
it won't be as bad.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes,
Wallace?
thank you, Mayor, and I've already expressed my gratitude for the pool and all of Parks and Rec. If you haven't, I know they just started with the Saturday market at Wingfield. We went the second Saturday, there was probably about 10 vendors there. Now it's growing up to about 20 vendors. And what I learned, Parks and Rec is going to have activities for kids as well between that 9 and 1 o'clock hours, so that, they could just have activities there. I thought that was ideal and stuff. And yes, I haven't made it to Grindstone on the weekend because what I got reports that it was just packed. And of course, they're asking for reservations and stuff like that. So that's good to hear. So I've been asked, and I hadn't talked to Rodney, but I'll get with them. Are we going to open up camping at Grindstone this year? Because that tied into another question, or questions I'm getting from the public and stuff, is that because of the fire at Three Rivers, the White Mountain Wilderness is still closed. And of course, it's on the west side of the range. Everybody's wanting to go camp in Bonita and go hike those trails, especially the equestrians, saying, well, why can't we hike on this side and go? Well, the response I got from the Forest Service is that they just got to keep the whole area closed. And the reason for it is that they're wanting to wait to see what flood events will happen in that area. That was the response I got for asking that question. But that just made me think more again, wow, okay, because that was the second question, can we camp at Grindstone now? And I said, no, but you could camp at the end of Cedar Creek or Eagle Creek. It doesn't have to be White Mountain. You could camp anywhere in the National Forest. So I just wanted to convey that as far as the camping part. Also, a lot of good ball players out there. It's fun to see them out there playing. It's exciting when you see no, there was even more than that, probably about 10 purple shirts of little kids going to the restaurant, Casablanca and stuff. And I mean, it's like, okay, now I could breathe again, or it just feels comfortable again to just have all that going in. There was something else, but it must not be that important. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Letterman?
I have several things. First of all, the Parks and Rec did such a nice job on the volleyball camp. My two granddaughters, I took them to volleyball camp, and they had 3 sessions, different age groups. And a former player from here was the coach, or, was the coach. And so it was really nice, so I appreciate that. And then yesterday, I thought was really special with the ribbon cutting for the radio station. And like, I think you said, Mayor, that, or it might have been Tim, or both, that said, on one side, we were cutting a ribbon for the radio station, and on the other side, we were tearing down the different additions to the Wingfield House. And that, of course, is near and dear to my heart, and I loved seeing it, so can't wait. And then, to have people at our meeting, it felt good today to have people be able to come to our meeting and sit and have congratulations to our new chief, so that was nice. And it was wonderful to see people at our convention center. It was nice to see our convention center open up, so we're doing some great things.
All right. And the way I remember it was Tim said, I didn't know, we could have said we were having a ribbon cutting and a groundbreaking.
There you go.
And then I repeated it.
Okay.
So
I knew it
probably,
was something like that.
yeah, so it was a fun time.
Yeah.
It really was.
And the program yesterday on the radio, that was just
That was
a
fun,
real
too.
fun time, yes. Thank you.
We're expecting great things. Councilor Eby?
Well, I just want to give credit due, but it was Matt over there that did say that it was iconic that you were opening up
Matt,
something
there you
new.
go.
and
Okay.
then
Demolishing
tearing down
something
the old.
across the.
There you go,
So
that's
we
right.
do, so we want to give him the credit for
Thank you
that.
very
for that
much,
particular
Matt,
quote.
thank you.
Yes, you bet you there. And to address what you were saying as far as nice to have people sitting in the gallery attending the meeting, well, that just shows we're going to have to swear in a new chief every 2 or 3 months.
No, thank you.
We hope this one sticks around a while.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Congratulations again. And it was a great event yesterday at the brand-new radio station. It's beautiful, and it's very, very state-of-the-art. It's sharp-looking, very sharp-looking. And you do a great job there, Mayor, as far as sitting in that chair and taking over that mic.
Yeah, you
You're a
do.
natural at it there.
Natural.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely natural. You, Tim, and Ron. I think all 3 of you have
Yeah,
that
you-
natural flow once you get in front of a mic.
Yeah, they're just,
Absolutely
they
there.
just
Well,
flow.
Ron's the straight guy. So we're always giving him a hard time.
Well, Mayor, members of the council, once football season starts, we might be the play-by-play. Those
No,
three.
we're not gonna be there.
There you go.
Right?
Oh, boy.
Incentive.
You bet. That'd be great there. But it's great to see the village getting opened up and all the progress that's going on. You know, the village hall, I went down and took a look at it yesterday and
Yes.
down and saw the Whippet there, pool's opening up, and just the sidewalks. You see the restrooms being renovated, and they'll be finished sometime soon. But it's great to see people in town and businesses opening up, and it's just a tough road to hoe right now, trying to get employees. Go to the Sonic Drive-In, and the drive-in's not open because they can't find enough employees. So hopefully that situation gets addressed, and things, businesses can find people to
Even,
hire.
sorry,
Go
Joe.
ahead.
Even McDonald's, their drive-through is just like this, and it's very slow right now because, I guess, employees.
That's what it is.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the summer.
Anything else?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, and you know how fast that went since Coughlin wasn't here? We just kind of went right through the whole deal. So we're moving right along. We'll move into public hearings. We don't have a public hearing today.
We've done that.
No, been there, done
Mayor,
that.
if I
Yes, sir.
may, there was a couple of things that I missed. On the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, we do have legislative finance in town, and we are hosting them over at the Convention Center, and then we're going to be doing a social over at the university on the night of the 23rd. We'll get more information out to y'all on that. The other thing that I did want to bring up is, now that we have a new police chief, I do want to have a one-day workshop where we sit down and we, basically go through a strategic planning process with the new chief. So, I'd like to set a day in this coming month so that the goals and objectives for that police department could be worked into the evaluations.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Hey, we'll move on to regular items. We've already done item number 1, so we'll move on to item number 2, discussion and possible action on resolution 2021-24, a resolution of financial support and funding commitment to the Ruidoso Main Street Association for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the amount of $35,000.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This resolution is a requirement in our biannual agreement with New Mexico Main Street and the Ruidoso Main Street. So $35,000 is the minimum amount that a community our size can contribute to a Main Street organization. Here today is Matt Ingram, our director of the Main Street, and he has a presentation he's put together for us. I notice here in the agenda that my items got separated. So the actual agreement with the scope of work is number 4.
So if I remember right, we could discuss this at the same time, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we'll be going over both of them.
So I'll pass it off to Matt Ingram.
All right, good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having me here today. Just wanted to go over, I think that our presentation, you guys have a paper copy. If not, I'll just scroll through over here. We were just accredited for the 2021 season through the National Main Street Program. I believe that there's close to 500 programs across the country that receive this designation, and that's just goes into all our hard work with the organization as well as the support of the village to do all of this. So again, this is and will be, I believe, our 4th year of having a national accreditation for the organization. So we're excited to kind of keep the ball rolling with that. Is that too loud for everybody?
Nope.
Okay, excuse me. Again, you can always check out all the stuff that we got going on our ruidosomainstreet.com website. It's where we host a majority of the stuff we got going on, a bunch of our links, as well as just a platform to showcase some of our special events and physical improvement projects throughout the year. Just wanted to let everybody know that we did get the tiles installed. So this was one of our first rounds of tiles at the Midtown restrooms, where we installed, I believe, 127 tiles. The first 18 inches of the bathrooms were fabricated with a cultured stone with a ledger. Just I don't think anybody would have wanted their tile at the very bottom. So I thought it was a very nice complement to the building. And then the stacked tiles will go on either side, just giving us room for a fundraiser project. So we continue to sell those things daily. Again, we just sold 8 of them to a local horse track owner or a racehorse owner. So those are the good ones to get right there. So you'll be seeing some new tiles coming in, I think, in the next 4 weeks, where we'll get the other side built up again. One of our fundraising strategies for the year, we would like to continue this on. ultimately at some other locations throughout the district as well. We'll fix up and put a mural at the project. We have a public wayfinding project that we're working on, so that will encompass some restroom signs to go up there at the Midtown restroom project. So again, we did that roof line last year, invested about $18,000 into that, and then as well as to showcase our digital kiosk that's down there. The other thing that we've been working on, and actually Kendra was our last episode, but is of our Main Street series. We were successful in getting a $10,000 New Mexico Oil and Gas Association grant to showcase 12 businesses across the district. We'll release those later this summer, but where we've worked with businesses to identify their industry, showcase what they do, and kind of tell their story. One thing that we're also doing is a before and after, so going in there and doing a full evaluation of their Facebook marketing, how many people follow them, their engagement. We provide them the content, the digital video, so that they're able to showcase that on their Facebook platform, their website platform, their video content that they get as well. So it's been very nice to be able to track some of the statistics, and video content gets such a higher mark on Facebook than a stagnant photo will. A lot of these businesses don't have that opportunity to get high quality video, but then there again, we're showing them opportunities to simply go in with your iPhone, showcase your store, sell something for the day. Again, this project is really trying to get people to go to that digital platform, promote e-commerce as well through some of these businesses. Throughout the year, we've done several business seminars that highlight and showcase the chamber, the ENMU has participated in there, some of the software and technical resources that are available to our businesses. For instance, Shopify is a very easy online platform to get your business ultimately online. And so those are the things that we're pushing for, getting past these traditional revenue sources for our businesses and showcasing that e-commerce for them. So that's one that I'm really excited and enjoy doing. Again, we were awarded $10,000 from the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association. So once we get this completed, we'll have a full detailed report of the analytics and things that we've gained through this process.
Before you move on.
Yes, sir.
How do you talk to businesses? How do you get them involved in this? Because that's always what I get back feedback from when we were trying to do the man on the streets and we were doing other highlights, that a lot of businesses said they didn't know how they were supposed to do it. You got to remember, a lot of these people are just in there making a living, trying to get things done, and they're not technically savvy. So how do they... Are we making it easy for them to be able to get on any business?
Absolutely, yes. If you go to ruidosomainstreet.com, right on your right-hand side is a business application where I think that we've already had close to 20 businesses apply for it. Again, we can only do 12. Then it comes down to a vetting process kind of through our board, because we are trying to highlight and showcase multiple industries that we would like to showcase, multiple industries and not every candy shop down there or every women's boutique. So then again, we're looking for
every bar,
a good collective. Yep. We're looking forward to working with some of these that are doing, WPS is one.
How do you vet those? I mean, just the things that we're doing with public comment, since you are part of the village of Ruidoso, we like to have things transparent where it's open to everyone. So what are we doing? Who picks to get that is going to be, which candy shop, which dress shop? How are you going to make those determinations? We usually outsource that so that we have rules of the game and how they do that, so that it is fair and transparent. And whether it's some sort of picking a name out of a hat, or if there's something more scientific. I was just curious, because I will get the calls. We get them all the time, and I just want to know, are we being arbitrary and fair, or are we being meticulous? And I don't want to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely. We're trying to be fair across the board and giving support to the businesses that might not traditionally use these mediums. Part of that vetting process is that the business is required to have like a website, have a platform ready to go so that we're not really necessarily reinventing the wheel, but we're getting and kind of hitting the ground running with them. So those are some of those, kind of the parameters that we've put up. Our promotions committee is the one that ultimately has kind of been overseeing that. And I would say that, we try to be as transparent as possible with all the business owners. We would really like to see this project not stop with 12 businesses.
How does the business website play into it?
Well, it'd just be, really how I wrote the grant through the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association was relief efforts during the pandemic. So it was really pushing for online sales. And most of these businesses might be reluctant to move their platform to online. With that, we didn't really feel that maybe the Main Street series was the best fit, just because we were going to really be pushing that element. And again, this was content back to some of our businesses. Again, we are also looking for exposure from the project and the program. So if a business has, absorbent amount of followers, that could be a great platform for us to showcase and help them along the process. Again, we really want to try to be transparent with that. Lost Hiker Brewing was the one that was one of the first ones to get involved with it. We chose them. We've told their story, and I've had emails from people saying that they moved specifically to Ruidoso because they enjoy that vibe of a local brewery down there. Again, we really want to be transparent with that, and all of our applications can be found on that ruidosomainstreet.com website. And
not to take anything away from that, but there was a lot of help in building that wave of production, and because it was everywhere. The man on the streets, everybody was doing that. So the other businesses that haven't already been able to build that platform and that big following because they've never been in this. And I was told when I asked this question before, well, these people need to get involved themselves. They need to do this or that. And again, it's the same thing that we tell Lodgers Tax. And when we used to talk to Team Tourism about helping these businesses that don't have their own marketing expertise, they don't have those things. That's what we should help them show how they get that. And that's what I want to do, is make sure. I'm not trying to take away from any of those businesses that are being a success, but some of those, they've had good products, good ideas, good everything. But the village has certainly helped promote them all.
Yep.
And I've seen them many, many times. We've talked about it, and I see most of them's pictures right there. I just want to, but hopefully we'll see some more pictures.
Absolutely.
Of different businesses that have been on there that give them the opportunity. And then if they don't take advantage of it, that's what I tell some of them. When's the last time you've been here? When's the last time you tuned in that? You got to somehow make yourself available for the knowledge and to find access.
Yeah.
So I just want to make it easy, and that we are reaching out, and that these people have that opportunity. And if they don't take advantage of it, it's something else.
A lot of we showcased this program on our business seminars when we released that, and a lot of the businesses that were a part of that jumped on at that early age. So just being involved, again, just trying to expand that scope. And I've been trying to write grants because I think that it could be so much bigger. And why 12 businesses when I have 120 businesses down there to go after? So again, that's something that's housed all inside RMA, is filming all the technical issues with that. And so we're excited to get it off and rolling, excited to work with New Mexico Oil and Gas Association on it as well. And a crucial funding at a time that we desperately needed it. And I think also they realized that it's a time where businesses need it too. So getting back operational, we've really been able to dive deep on Facebook pages, Yelp reviews. It's amazing how many businesses aren't, they haven't been claimed on the Google and stuff like that. So there's some of those issues that we can work past to really try to stimulate that district on a digital front.
Good job. That's great.
I think it's a good one. I'd really like to see it go across the community, because we have some really cool stories to tell. Again, I wanted to go back here. Really, my hat's off to the village of Ruidoso and the A Mountain Construction and the New Mexico Department of Transportation with the sidewalk project, the 13-week improvement project down there. It was awesome to work alongside Rodney Griego and watch him whip and spur those guys down there. Everything from railings to ADA access and working with all of the businesses. So at the end of the whole project, everybody, in my mind, the pulse of the community is so excited to have it, the safety there. You guys did extend past the project parameters to take care of some very treacherous sidewalks there in front of Candle Power in that stretch there. So that was all taken care of. Again, I think people from the other side of the road were glad that the sidewalks weren't getting done on their end, but the ones that did, they definitely made their sacrifice, had to close their business, work around staffing issues. So again, our promotion there is to make sure that you support those local businesses that had to close down for some time to accommodate for some safe pedestrian amenities down there. So thanks again for making a focus down there and keeping our visitors and our locals alike safe in that walking district. Ruidoso Midtown during the lodger's tax, this past lodger's tax submitted funding for a wayfinding project to Midtown. We have been able to identify a lot of different areas, and I know that you can't really see this over here, but have gone in and identified some key areas and high traffic intersections. One thing that I found very interesting about the wayfinding, especially to Midtown, is that there's only 2 specific signs in the entire village that promote or push any type of traffic to Midtown. The one there at that top, the top right here, there at Evans and Suttereth, and then there's one at the Meacham and Suttereth corridor. So we'll be working with New Mexico Main Street and have been working with New Mexico Main Street. New Mexico Department of Transportation is aware of our project, and as we move this forward, they'll be integral part in that. And then working with Alden at the agency for some technical support there and just kind of design and overlooking this. One thing we would really like to do is get some creative signage there in Midtown, and you can see with a directional sign. One thing I would like to see is maybe like the alien crash or even a Smokey Bear grave. I don't know. We could come up with some really cool and unique things to promote that we have close to us, as well as I would like to see a parking lot directory in each one of our public parkings. So you would actually know what amenities are in close by or even where the shopping district is. I think that overall is just going to decrease user confusion, and hopefully we can highlight and showcase all of the the amenities that we have in public parks, public restrooms, the mural walk, river access. Another thing that we'll do with all of our pedestrian wayfinding is to put a QR code that goes directly to our Visit widget app, so that will take them to that interactive application. So we'll go from there. This was just a couple other things that I really picked out while we were doing this. Is just kind of is really condensing a lot of these signs. You can see that these signs are kind of stacked on top of each other. I gave Rodney a hard time saying that there's more signs taking people out to Wingfield Park and to Grindstone, and that was my turn to keep people in the Midtown. So I definitely want to work with Parks and Recreation and making sure that we're identifying these areas and these assets that they would like to showcase, simultaneously promoting Midtown as well. So again, I just think that we can really consolidate a lot of these signs, still utilize some of them as assets for the village, but again, like maybe a rebrand and a redesign through this. Wanted to just pulled up the last 1 year analytics for the digital kiosk and digital app download. Had close to 76,000 sessions on it, and downloaded over 3,000 devices over this past year. So if you do get an opportunity to hop on to that digital app, the Ruidoso app, I highly recommend it. It'll showcase all of our walking tours, disc golf stuff, and up-to-date current list of all of our businesses and a direct link to our business's website off of that app as well. The next thing that I just brought up, one thing that my board asked me to do was to get a pulse of our business district stakeholders and their basically their interest on cannabis recreational sales in the district. I did an independent study that was done by myself. I've added the survey and sent the survey over, I believe, to Samantha through the process, but really was to just get a pulse of what the merchants wanted down there, and so that we can accurately represent that district. In the survey, 57 respondents came in. 46 of them were business owners. So to give you a perspective of the people surveyed, I found it interesting. If you guys have it in front of you, but there was a 41-16 in favor of recreational cannabis in the C3 zoning. There was excuse me here, I need to pull these up. There was a 43-14 support in C2 zoning and a 29-28 support in C1 zoning. One thing that has been brought up was the on-site consumption, and again, that was measured in our report as well. And I found it very interesting, but we'll take the position of the majority of our stakeholders in the district. But I felt like it answered a lot of the questions earlier as, do you support on-site consumption of cannabis in Ruidoso? And 29 over 28 were not in favor of on-site consumption of cannabis. And so just to kind of give you guys a pulse of what those 57 business owners were thinking down there in the district, just to kind of give you guys a perspective, and my hat's off to the village on taking a comprehensive approach and look at it. I feel that there is an economic value to it, both in tourism and industry that supports it, and the hardware stores that carry the material all the way down to the ones that are selling it. So,
Matt, can you define what on-site consumption means?
Well, we were looking at there is. Whenever they released the bill, there was permitted areas, and so I already knew right off the bat that they were looking at, that they're going to be permitted areas only. Communities up in Colorado, I've reached out and talked to the Main Street program in Steamboat, Colorado. Lived in Denver for 10 years. There was no on-site consumption of any of this. It had to be in your home, out of view, all of that. And so I think that the survey reflects that people aren't interested in people walking around utilizing the product. Correct. Yeah. They're, more it's the access to the product. It's the, that is all that we were really wanting to dive deep in, and didn't really want to get into too much more detail on that. But, you see a majority of the businesses down there not supporting on-site consumption of cannabis in the C3 zoning. So that was just kind of something we wanted to do, and I'm glad that the village has taken upon themselves a little more resources, as well as just a broader survey. I think would be more give us a better perspective of how to move forward in the future. Let's keep going. A couple more here, guys. Just wanted to I always have to give my board just such a representation because they do so much. We met for our first time at Wingfield Park, so it was the first time since the pandemic we got together. Eric Vaughn was unable to be here due to hand surgery from a mountain biking incident a couple weeks ago. Kendra King graciously came in, and we've been working together. So come July, I believe 17th is when we make our new board nominations. We have 3 new board seats that have actually been not necessarily filled, but they'll have their recommendations made on June 17th. Once they are accepted in by the board, we'll start our onboarding process and welcome them officially come, I believe it's like June 16th or something like that. Again, we work with stakeholders that are vested in that district, either a business owner, property owner. Again, we are looking for working with a wide range of people, anywhere from all age, ethnicities and sex. So we try to keep a diverse board as well as a tiered board where their involvement will be structured for 1 to 3 years. So never will our board will be out of board members. So we've been able to structure that, and that's definitely been a good thing, especially having Bert Brunel on there. He's a pretty tough guy to work with, and have him going. So we like to have the guys that have been around down there, have seen it, so that we don't repeat some of our same mistakes. And some of these guys are inspirational in that. Just kind of wanted to go back. I always try to conceptualize what we're working on and what we have to do. One thing that we have been working on with New Mexico Main Street is identifying some areas that we can increase some public parking efficiencies. The Rio Street alignment has been another project that we have been looking at very cautiously. One thing that we're really identifying is the need for parking. More and more parking down there is getting utilized from axe throwing, from outdoor patios. And so we would really like to establish some sort of private-public partnership with some of these businesses to fix up their property, to showcase, host some parking. I think that Rio Street is a key corridor that could be used for some redevelopment and get some really cool, exciting things in there. Just a little reluctant on releasing it just because we do have there would be a lot of pushback on some things that we've done. Again, we want to increase the parking in Midtown, is a big deal down there. So other than that, I think that moving forward, I wanted to recap. There's several things that we didn't showcase on here. For 2021 and 2022, we have gone after larger stacks funding for all of our special events, Brudoso, Mountain Smoke, the Halloween event that partakes down in Midtown with the Haunted House and Pumpkin Roll, as well as looking at doing and working with a golf course to handle some sort of a community golf scramble as well. That has presented to be a little bit more challenging than expected just because we have such a long period that people can play golf. So again, we really want to showcase that one on some shoulder weekend, do it during a low time, but also make something that would be good for us. So this year has been definitely challenging for us being such an event-focused organization. And again, up to a couple weeks ago, we could only have 150 people together. So we're definitely looking forward to getting our events operational back and going. We just have to do it very smart because we've taken a very stable strategy so that we can host these special events. They cost us about $20,000 to $25,000 to throw and to host a special event. And we got to make sure that we can do it at the right time with the correct strategy, or we're looking, RMA would be struggling at that juncture. So again, we've developed a strategy working already September, October. We have stuff in the work and looking at being that business, kind of industry leader in these special events, doing them safe. Anything else, Kendra?
I have a little I'd like to add to this. And looking at the next year coming up, I would really like to first of all thank Matt, because I think that he has a thankless job. He is a man of many hats. To carry the position that he holds is beyond vital to the community. I don't think that I can stress enough about how important the Midtown Association has been for not just the downtown district, but the entire community. We've thrown events that have brought the entire community together. We've thrown hundreds of volunteer hours to the tune of, $30,000 value in private people coming together and help and execute events and do things that the whole community was involved in, not just the downtown district. Like I mentioned earlier, thank you, Mayor, for the introduction. I've been in the community since I went to high school here, and I remember when Midtown looked a lot different than it does. It kind of used to have this kind of like old suit vibe. I don't know how else to describe it. But in the last 10 years, Midtown has really come up to speed with the modern needs. And just merely in the last 3 years or 4 years that the organization has been afloat, we have seen incredible results from this organization. There's kind of there's talk and planning planning, and then there's action. And so it's a lot of processes, and Matt really stands as our middleman for like the planning process and then executing and making sure that these projects come to light and happen. And also just being the overall middleman between Midtown and the village. Like, he's taking phone calls at 8 o'clock in the morning from people wanting to know why their sidewalk's being chiseled up. And then, so many things have come together in a positive way that really, like I said, Matt's wearing many hats over here. He's taking pictures of businesses and filming video, and he's preparing documents for us, and he writes grants. And we're talking about a very smart person that's done a lot for our community. And this, if it really wasn't for Matt, this organization would not work as well as it does. The board, we have a great board of 10 members, but these are people that they can only give you an hour here or an hour. They come together and do things for us that are vital. But Matt is the one putting in 40 hours a week and standing behind making sure this stuff happens. So when it falls short that no one's available to help, Matt is up at midnight making sure that these projects, that we have these special events, and that the sidewalks, the Bears got moved at 7 o'clock in the morning, and communicating with all these different agencies and holding just a high value on all of that. But like I said about watching things change in the downtown, I mean, we have new seating, and we have murals, and we have new trash cans, and there's things that have just come up that are a great improvement that we kind of all take for granted, that if it wasn't for a direct targeted organization saying, let's focus on this area and then take everything else in to improve this area, I just want to make sure that the credit is given to our director, and then back on the organization, because obviously without the community participation and the board members, we wouldn't have Matt doing such a phenomenal job. But Matt really, really puts in the work for this, and so I just want to make sure that you all know how important, from the ground standpoint, that I understand what the mayor says about, like, it's hard to get people to participate. One of the things that the organization has done, like throwing business mixers, we have people showing up that are just kind of like, what are we doing here? And they're first-time people to participate in community involvement, and they want to know, like, well, where did all these paintings on the wall come from? Well, they came from an event that we threw. We raised this money, and we put it right back on the street, and now, people are benefiting from this, or the businesses are benefiting from that. And so the communication in the district has never been stronger. Having been here personally and a business owner myself for 11 years now, I remember about 10 years ago when none of the businesses really even talked to each other. And now, because of all of this community involvement and really a middleman, an organization at play where you can tell your neighbor and say, well, have you talked to the Midtown Association? Because they do great stuff, and getting on these mailing lists and being involved in surveys and stuff. I understand that we do consistently see the same people show up and the same people want to be involved, but I think that branches out. I think that spreads out to the underdogs, to where, you start to feel like, well, I did it, my neighbor can do it. Well, if you did it, I can do it. And that there's a face to go to, that you don't have to show up to a council meeting to just have small questions about the downtown, or concerns, small questions about business hours, or how traffic flows, or when are we going to shut down for the kids to trick or treat. When we shut down the street last year for trick or treating, that was the first time we have ever done that. And it was phenomenal. If it wasn't for the Midtown Association and the Chamber of Commerce and the Village and Parks and Rec and all 4 of those entities coming together, we would not have had something that the kids will be talking about for a very, very long time, that we hope to replicate again for years to come. So that's kind of all end on that high note there, but thank you guys for your time and all of that. So
I'm glad you threw everybody else in there.
Yes.
Because do you know how the sidewalks project got started?
Yeah.
How it got done? How did it happen? I'm curious. How do you think it happened?
That was from the village, you guys pushing.
Actually, it was the DOT. We've been trying to work on this for 10 years, 8 years, and it just so happened we had our finances, we'd done some things, and we got a call because we were ready. And this DOT had extra money, so they called us, and we jumped on it, and that's where Rodney, and then you got with you, went door to door, working on those things. But that's what I'm talking about, Kendra, is that so many other businesses that it's not just RMA. RMA is maybe the tip of the spear sometime, but the village, we worked on a committee for years to create the RMA. that used to be part of the Midtown Association or the Main Street Solution that a lot of businesses, including Bert Brunel, was not happy about. And my building down there, we lost all of our parking. And so people were not happy about us even bringing an RMA so we had to cross those bridges. So that's what I keep telling people. All this culmination that has come up is work of people that have been working for many years. And Becky Brooks, I laugh at her because I remember I was a newbie in the way in the back listening to these people with these same ideas that you're talking about now. That the things that are coming to fruition at Grindstone, at Alto, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be cool? They used to want everybody, where's the money coming from? Well, first, we didn't have any finances. We didn't have our security and our water. And so there was all these issues that is allowing the village and the RMA to flourish right now and look awesome. And I'm tickled that you're doing a good job. I always knew you could do a good job. And last year was a kick in the teeth for you guys.
Yeah.
And the village has always been there wanting to support it by building what we've done at Wingfield Park by paying it off. You know, how do we do that? And the pavilion that was put over there, the Commons parking lot, you know, I worked with the Mashburn for years to try to get them to give it to us, and that didn't work. So they sold it to us. And then I noticed she's still on their housing project on that one little square, and I guess we're never going to have that there. But, you know, those are things that, not me, I mean, all I'm doing is taking stuff in the council that now we can actually do something with. And you guys are getting to do that. And that's what I want to see is, I just have one more question, and Councilor Coughlin has texted me some questions on it. But do we have on your membership, how many members do we have that, you know, are members?
Again, we have still have not done a membership drive for our merchants down there, and our stakeholders are not financially responsible at any juncture. The only ones that financially contribute to the organization are the board members as of right now, but a community or a stakeholder membership program initially was talked, but we have not done that. Went to our tile fundraiser project. Again, during the COVID pandemic, it was very tough to ask these business owners for a contribution there. And so we've been successful in raising close to $13,000 in the tile fundraiser project and not taxing one of our businesses to this point.
Okay. And that's just something, I mean, I know working for an organization myself, you know, that's what I live on is those monthly donations or quarterly or annual. And so that's one of the things that, I'm sorry, somebody is calling me, and I was just trying to read his message. That was one of the questions he was wanting to know is how many. And then on the Facebook, he said that he's been looking at that, and there's only 2 posts since March 1 that's about the village. I don't know if I got that right. Is that wrong on our Facebook from RMA? What I think he's trying to say is that he just would like to see more communication, and that's something that we struggle with at the village all the time. Even with all of our people and connections, we still don't get everybody. And then when we have these things that come up, you know, you remember the Midtown realignment or the what was it called? The traffic diet that we were just talking about, you know, and then it got out there and it all blew up in our faces, something we were trying to help. And so I think it's imperative that we start trying to build those services down there. And that's one reason that the administration and different people in different departments work so hard to get the applications out so that we could refund or grant, I shouldn't say refund, grant up to $20,000 towards almost 78 different businesses. You know, that we want those businesses to succeed. And I think y'all bringing them together, you'll have discourse, but you'll be able to get people to discuss things. And then I think out of that will come great things. But I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. But, you know, it's only because, you know, they always talk about standing on the shoulder of giants. There's so many people that I see on walkers. Some have died since I remember meeting them when they talked about the things that are happening now. So that's why we have to be such good stewards of where we go and that we do them right so that the public continues to trust us, that we can then really expand. Because I know you guys got a ton of ideas. We want to see the Brudoso thing explode. You know, I want to see the other things that you guys got talking about. And then I know you're talking to the racetrack. They've got a new guy down there that's got some ideas that sound similar to what you guys are doing. So, and they want to be part of the community. So I appreciate all that you're doing. That was just some of the questions from Coughlin. Does anybody else have anything? Okay, we'll go ahead and continue. I know I interrupted you for 10 minutes, but she brought it up and it hit. So I just wanted to bring that because those are things that come up quite regularly.
Yeah, and we're excited for next year. We've got some new board members are going to be bringing in some really good energy. I think that you can see it down in Midtown right now. Some of these major properties that have been purchased, getting remodeled, and now we're going to see a big influx of some new businesses, some new energy down there. I'm excited. One of our main approaches from the get-go was to increase those operational hours down there. You knocking it on the head with the lighting project that's going to make it safe down there where people want a nice lighted district to walk, but also breweries, wineries, restaurants, other stores that are opening up, disc golf businesses, outdoor recreational draw down there. It's going to give these other business owners opportunity to, and a desire to keep their businesses open. So I'm excited to see what's coming. Those businesses down there have been through a lot with the brick and mortar stores. So again, more now than ever is to support those local guys down there and across the community.
Well, it drives energy. I know that one building that we had trouble with for years, with all the crap parked outside and then the legal issues. And then now Bob Maroney's purchased it, and that's one of the most beautiful buildings down there right now. I mean, they've done an amazing facelift on that thing, but it lends excitement, just like Win Place and Show did.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so all the businesses going through there is pretty awesome.
The old Kalijah's building up
Yep.
there, Dakota and Andy are doing a good job there, and excited to see. So a lot of vitality's going down there in some of those eyesore spots. And I've just been talking with the business owners, telling them, get ready, because your neighbor is going to support you down there. And that's what some of those businesses are going through. So
Awesome. And we do have sidewalks planned for Center Street
Oh my gosh, are you sure?
after the summer.
yes, good.
would be
Well,
amazing.
I mean, just to go back on what you're saying, it's been a partnership here, and it started with administration prior. You guys have carried it on. That is my goal as well, is to make sure that this organization, those Brudosos and those Mountain Smokes festivals are still here past me. And so that's one thing, organizationally we do, and I think Tim would resonate with this is, we have to look into the future. What does RMA look like for 10 years? What's the capacity? These past several years, we've been able to generate almost $200,000 in revenue. This year was completely different, but an organization that's over there making money, putting money back into the district, helping these business owners out, being a champion for the district, you guys saw the path to it, and the organization it's been fun to do and work with those businesses down there. But it's a community-wide effort. Everything you're doing, we're excited for Wingfield Park, excited to see the advancements there, and then along the river down there, there's such an opportunity to bring some additional river access to the patrons in Midtown, just right down there as well. So being born and raised here, this was my 8th grade library. I was checking out books here before I could read. Pretty much that was in 8th grade. But it's just a community that we've seen all grow, and just excited to be a part of the growth of it.
Well, so you guys get to create a vision, and then I know you talk to the businesses, but when you do your presentation in front of lodgers tax, and they get excited and they buy into it, they're the recommendation board, and so automatically the councils up here, they trust these folks. They give their time freely to do that. And so that's how important what y'all are doing is that you have something that's infectious that will support and influence a lot of people that will benefit from it.
Exactly.
And that's awesome.
Vendors from Brudoso have started up. Birdie and Bree, Nuts R Us down there. We're all first-time vendors at our festivals, are now moved into a brick and mortar. We're talking about business recruitment. I know that there's other breweries that are looking at Ruidoso. All have called me from Brudoso asking, how do they get in and where's the spot? So those are the type of things that support it. And again, I think that, having a place that's so fun to live at, that supports it, that's why people want to be here, and we can continue to grow that.
Sweet.
So
Well, my last comment is going to be that I just want to thank you all for the rich partnership that is happening in this community. It's what makes it a wonderful place to live, and it's an honor to be involved in the growth. So thank you guys very much.
You bet. Hopefully we have a lot of success. All right. Anybody else have any comments, questions for him? Nope. Okay.
Mayor, just, I have noticed that Councilor Coughlin has suggested quite a bit about the membership, and, that's one of the things that I think a lot of us have experienced is, as we've engaged some of the merchants in Midtown, they don't feel that they're part of the organization. And irregardless of whether you do it on a financial basis or not, I think you need to offer some type of membership. And you talked about the new leadership. How do you elect your officials if you don't have any members? If you only have 10 members, how do you elect people to represent the leadership of your organization? And I know you're going to say, our bylaws, but, you should be representing as a Main Street organization, the whole district.
And recruiting, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Tim has a very valuable point. You get these people that are financially vested are going to have a lot more say, maybe a lot more input into it. And so it's definitely something that's not off the table with the organization. I think it could be a big fundraising strategy for us moving forward. And we definitely want to look and would continue to kind of push for that.
Well, I know you're trying to...
Mayor, Council, being financially vested is public money supporting the organization. So I think all the businesses down there are financially vested anytime that we spend taxpayers' dollars to support that type of an organization.
Great. And I know you're trying to stretch it, the district, because I was talking to Heidi over at
Midtown
Campgrounds. We had some issues with some dumpsters, so we were down there trying to work that out. And that was one of the things that they wanted to be involved and try to, even though they know they're not in it, they will participate because their patrons will. But that's always a difficult thing to do is how do you get people involved? It doesn't always have to be a party type thing or whatever. There's got to be a way to get these people that are new to the community, people that have been here a long time are some of the hardest ones to get involved.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so how do you go about getting them involved in that so that you are, just like what we were doing with Chief Chavez. How'd you know I was going to talk about you? You looked at me, right? We were trying to, promote from within and it's just like what we try to do with the council, on the other committees that we have, we get people that understand how government works and what it takes to move through. It's not about me or just you, it's about we. How do we make that happen? So that's what I think Coughlin, one of his points, and I agree with it 100%, is that we've got to have businesses buying in so that you have a diversity of idea and you don't have groupthink on what we're doing. And, and you just pick a new guy. But it's the same, the new boss is the same as the old boss type thing. That's some of the questions that we get because we do talk to a lot of the businesses. I talk to a bunch of them all the time that call me and they want to be included. They just don't know how they're supposed to do it. And they don't feel included enough to pick the phone up and say, hey, Matt, where do I go? What do I do? How do I get involved? And it's the same with the lodgers. We constantly are talking about reaching out to our lodgers so they know, the money that is being collected, that they're collecting and remitting, that we then turn around and spend in advertising and give it to the lodgers tax. And that's where that money goes. And then they pass it to you on ideas and dreams that you got a plan that you're going to put together that they can see how it's going to benefit the community. But that's where it comes in with everybody. We got to keep figuring out how to motivate it. And I remember when you were having trouble getting, in the beginning, everybody wanted to be a board member. And then nobody wanted to be a board member. And then it was like, is there even going to be a members, And so it takes that up and down. And you've been here the whole time. So it is very, telling on your behavior that you've stuck with it. It's not been easy, but we still have a long way to go. And I want to tell you, hopefully you've felt that we were willing to help you, work with you. Samantha, I know I keep throwing her under the bus getting her involved in everything. Rodney was out there with you. You learned from those guys. And then, task us. We have a lot of bandwidth and we're using a lot of it right now. But we want and we expect RMA to be a success. And so And sometimes I was asked to leave a meeting at the RMA one time. Way back when Debbie Lee was here, they said, we're having a closed session, you guys aren't welcome. And so it's like, what do you mean, the mayor can't even sit in here? I mean, it was that mentality that we were having. I don't remember if you were at that meeting there, and I was like, they just kicked us out of our own meeting. I don't understand how this works. So we left rather than showing a fit and saying, well, we'll just pull the plug. That was an option because people were calling, pull the plug. It's like, no, the idea is the future, where we're going. And y'all both said it. And today, the things that you're doing is going to pay in dividends. And they'll be talking about when Matt was here. And hopefully they'll say, man, I wish Matt was here. Because the second guy has it even harder sometimes to live up to the first.
Yep.
So.
Well, you guys, I appreciate you, and we've been through there's been a rocky road. I mean, being in this organization and working with all the business owners, you get to see it's very raw. These entrepreneurs down there, that is a tough drink to take and to be down there. So it's been such a learning experience for me, and then be able to operate in my hometown's been honestly a dream come true, to do these things. But in due time, I think that the organization is there. We have these established special events that are year after year. We just need the green light from the state to go ahead and do them. And we would really not be having a lot of these conversations that we are today if that wasn't the case. So we're excited to get back on. We're optimistic for 2021 and 2022, and see how we can grow. And again, we want to do it with a parallel with you guys. And what best fits our community, and identifying our projects out of the MRA plan, and something that's of benefit, and again, along the same lines with you. So,
Thank you. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, thanks, Matt. Thanks, Kendra. Item number 3, discussion and possible action on Resolution 2021-25, a resolution authorizing the participation in the Transportation Project Fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation.
We need to have a motion.
We didn't even have a motion.
On item 2, separate for item 2
I was
and
just
4.
so happy with, I guess, Matt's presentation, I forgot to vote on it. Yeah, we'll have to have a vote now, Matt, I'm sorry. So we can have a motion on item number 2?
Is it, the 35,000? I move that we accept Resolution 2021-24, a resolution of financial support and funding commitment to the Ruidoso Main Street Association for fiscal year 2021-2022 in the amount of $35,000.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other final discussion? None? Roll call, please, Mr. Sena.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry it took so long. Item number 3, discussion and possible action on a resolution, I already read this one, it's 2021-25, resolution authorizing the participation in the Transportation Project Fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation, and this one is Samantha.
Mayor Crawford, members of the council, we'll need a motion on number 4 also, a separate motion, item 4. And that's also on the Main Street on their agreement.
Oh, so I'm skipping to number 4?
Yes.
We gave you the authority.
Oh, that's true, but usually they put them in line. Okay, so we'll move to item number 4. Excuse me, Samantha. Discussion and possible action on professional services agreement with the Ruidoso Midtown Association to promote Midtown District in the Village of Ruidoso.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve professional services agreement with the Ruidoso Midtown Association to promote the Midtown District in the Village of Ruidoso.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, back to item number 3. I'm going to read this one last time.
Well, I think we can go with it as.
How about just the New Mexico Department of Transportation, Samantha, please?
Mayor and councilors, this is a resolution to show support of our grant application to participate in the Transportation Project Fund program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation. Our application is a total project cost of $3.5 million. We will be cost sharing with the County of Lincoln for the 5% match. The total match has been clarified after the workshop meeting. In the new resolution, which is not in your all's packet, the clerk informed me. The way I broke it out was to give more detail. It reads, whereas the total cost of the project is $3.5 million to be funded in proportional share by the parties hereto as follows. A, New Mexico Department of Transportation shall share 95% or $33,325,000, and the village, B, the Village of Ruidoso and County of Lincoln will contribute the remaining 5% of $175,000. And then there's an I, and it says Village of Ruidoso's proportional matching share shall be $100,000. And II, which is the County of Lincoln's proportional matching share, shall be $75,000, which will be a total of $3.5 million. This project includes 3 roads. The first termini is from Gavilan Canyon Road in the intersection of Highway 70 to Gavilan Canyon Road at the intersection of Highway 48, and that's 6.55 miles. The other road we're asking for money for is Warrior Drive, which is 0.9 miles, and Paradise Canyon Road, which is 1.9 miles the entire duration. So we have a meeting tomorrow morning to rank and score with the other Southeastern Road Transportation Board members. And with that recommendation, it'll go over to Francisco Sanchez's desk, the District 2 engineer, and he'll select the final projects for funding.
Okay, and so the things that we have to consider is, from Finance Department has said that we've had as of May 2021, that we have a 13% increase in GRT collections, and that $100,000 could be funded out of there.
Yes, Mayor, you are correct. This project currently is not in the budget, so I just need an area to add it to the budget, so you can either increase GRT revenues to the general fund, or you could actually pay it out of cash balance.
Does the manager have a recommendation?
Mayor, just my recommendation, pay out of cash balance.
Anyone else?
That makes sense to me.
Okay. So I think it's a great idea that we're getting this done.
Yes.
So if we can get a motion and include in the motion that we want to take it out of cash balance.
Mr. Mayor, move to adopt Resolution 2021-25, a resolution authorizing their participation in the Transportation Project Fund Program administered by the New Mexico Department of Transportation, and also that it be funded through the general balance?
Cash.
Or cash balance?
Cash balance.
Second.
For any shortfall.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Simon?
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on Ruidoso Adventure Tour sweepstake rules and regulations. And I don't know if you've received Councilor Coughlin's.
I did.
You have?
Yes. I received them that evening and made the correction on the date. The part where it talks about sponsorship, that's a cookie cutter format from other legal sweepstakes language. We have had our sweepstakes rules and regulations reviewed by the New Mexico Gaming Commission. They gave us the go-ahead with it. Our attorney, Zach Cook, has reviewed it, and he's comfortable with it as well. There's just that one section that we need guidance as to if you all would like me to enter the language as far as who is eligible and not eligible to participate with regards to village staff and elected officials.
Okay, did you get the part about payment is misspelled?
Yes.
Okay, you already said that.
Mayor, you know, one of the things that I do want to bring up is, we did find out that we have some credits for professional tickets that we want to add to the sweepstakes.
Okay, can you elaborate a little bit?
Sure. Last year, there was some ad purchases, you know, for the Phoenix Suns and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and several of the.
Something to Dallas Mavericks or Dallas
Yes.
Cowboy or whatever.
And the vendor that was, you know, those tickets or the ads were being purchased from also provided tickets to sporting events. And I believe we have a credit of just over $1,000. So, you know, we'd like to add, and they can only be used for professional sporting events. So we'd like to add those tickets to the sweepstakes as well.
That'd be awesome. Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's nice.
And I'll discuss more about that later.
Okay.
But, right, Judy, that was right about a little over $1,000.
Okay. Sounds good.
What does council think about as far as being eligible for staff and so on, as far as the village and employees?
As long as it's generally available to the public, I think that you know. Are you asking me what I think is the right policy, or are you asking me if?
Yes, from a legal standpoint, public consumption, and what would be the most prudent as far as from a legal standpoint?
I can't think of any reasons why you would want to place limitations on anybody participating. But
Except for, of course, the council and spouses of council, just for optics.
Yeah.
Sure, I think it ought to be eligible to the employees. I have no problem being opted out.
How are we picking them, Sam? How do you know who's won?
They'll be entered electronically and drawn at random.
By us?
A randomizer.
A randomizer?
So you're talking immediate family of council? So like a grandson could win, something like that?
I think Hebe's feeling lucky.
Mayor, if I may, on this subject, you know, if you look at, you know, the governor just put together the sweepstakes, the VAX, to the MAX sweepstakes or whatnot. And in there, it's being administered out of the lottery. So, you know, the governor's office and the lottery employees are not eligible to win, and/or their spouses, I believe is the way that one reads. And, you know, I certainly am not going to opt in myself. You know, I will go out and do a few of the tours, but I will not, you know. So
You'll buy the T-shirt.
I'll buy the T-shirt, yes.
Councilor
Sure.
Cornelius, did you have something?
Yeah, but Joe asked it.
Oh, did he? Okay.
But I think it's just, that, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, I don't think, and I can't speak for Ron, but I don't think our department would be, you know, participating as far as part of the, opting into the sweepstakes.
Okay. Any other questions?
I mean, Mayor, I think we need to leave it open for village employees.
Yes, I think
Don't
so.
have a direct, you know, participation in the sweepstakes itself.
Do we have a minimum amount of entries that we require?
No.
No, the only stipulations in the rules is that you can have one entry per 24 hours if you were to go register at the Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, so you can register a bunch of times.
We have to keep it open with no purchase necessary, so we thought the most controlled way would be to complete a handwritten form and to only have it there in a locked box at the Ruidoso Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Mayor, the only way that you can enter several times is if you do several different tours. But if you just want to do a no purchase necessary entry, it's just one.
So you actually have to physically be in Ruidoso?
Yes.
To register,
To win. You can't win without registering.
right.
I'm a little confused on maybe that.
Well, if you're out of town and you register at discoverruidoso.com to take a tour or all of the tours, you get your entry that way as well.
Okay, so you can register without having to be in town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you'd have to come do the tour.
You do.
Yes.
She kind of is looking like she's not sure.
Well, you can register online to do the tour, and that gives you a T-shirt and a sweepstakes entry.
But you have to come do the tour.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you have to come do your tour.
Can you register online?
Validate that you did the tour.
And you validate it through an app?
Yes.
Well, because that would definitely give residents of Ruidoso the upper hand, because they can go down every day.
And do a tour.
Well, I mean, if.
To the chamber.
Enter to win, you said you could do that every day.
No, they can only do it once if they don't enter the tour itself.
Okay, so if they enter the tour, then they could go and put an entry in every day,
No, just once.
just once?
If they don't enter a tour, they go down to the Chamber of Commerce and do one entry.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get one entry.
But if they do enter the tour, they can enter every day.
Yes. As long as they do the tour.
I thought I just read you could enter every 24 hours.
That's the way the rules read now. That's correct.
But not if you're doing it online.
We can change that, though, to one entry per person, and if there's multiple entries per person, then it would disqualify them.
So that would be just.
However you would like to amend the
That's not what
draft.
we had talked about, is if they do the tour, we want to encourage them to do the tours. So that they get multiple entries if they do the tours. But if they just want to enter with no tour, each person gets one entry.
But you have to do different tours to get multiple entries.
Yes. If you go to do a Jeep tour, you get an entry. You go to do a hiking
Right.
tour, you get an
But if
entry.
I only do a Jeep, I can't go and register every day.
For the Jeep,
Right, for the Jeep.
the Jeep tour.
Correct.
It could
She's
work
already got
both.
hers picked up. The Jeep,
I think if you limit the entries, then it seems like, I mean, I always look at it odds of winning. I mean, if you only, at one point, I know it's been brought up, it says limit one entry per person for 24 hours. Could you stuff the ballot box and advance that way? Possibly. I don't have a feel for how many people are going to enter into this and actually do the tour, or how many people are just going to enter it as a sweepstakes, where, no purchase is necessary and you roll the dice. I wouldn't want to make it, it seems like no good deed goes unpunished. I wouldn't want it to give us a black eye either way, is my point.
Right.
And I am concerned if you limit entries, I don't know how many you're going to even have in there to draw on. I mean, is it a 1 in 8, a 1 in 20, a 1 in 100? I mean, I don't know. I understand the concept. I mean, I have nothing against it. I'm just concerned to make it equal and fair for everybody, and that it's not gamed in some way.
How does the 24 hours play into this? So I guess I'm just a little unclear. So if I register for a Jeep, I have to wait 24 hours before I can register for the biking?
So with the no purchase entry, you would just drop your name into the hat, and the prizes will be given away at random. By the first name drawn would win whichever prize is listed first, and then the second name, you don't get to go in and say, I'm dropping my sweepstakes for only a Jeep or only the Harley.
That's all she meant. What she was talking about is if you enter for a Jeep, then you have to wait 24 hours to do a different tour.
Oh, a different tour? I don't think you would be limited. I think if, say, I want to register for hiking, horseback, and jeeping, then you could check out all at
I
once.
think the discussion was is that, most people aren't going to go and do a 5-mile hike and then go on a, 60-mile bike ride or whatnot. So, it would be one event per day.
Right.
You could come into town. We didn't want to limit it, so, you could come into town today and do a hiking tour, and then tomorrow go and do a jeeping tour, an HUV tour.
Right.
But you won't want to do that in just one day. So, the discussions we're having is that, you could do multiple entries if you do all the different events. But if you, you won't want to try to do that all in one day. And there was also discussion that, we want to go out there and actually time it so that if somebody said, I'm going to go out and do a hiking tour and it takes 3 hours, well, if I take off by 8 in the morning, I'll still be able to go back into town and go to the racetracks or do a different event or whatnot. So, they wanted to be able to time it as well. But we wanted people to be encouraged to come back and be able to do the tours. And when you do the tours, you get an entry, and that's something that you're actually paying for. But then you do get, if somebody doesn't want to pay, then they can also enter without paying. But it'll only be limited to one entry.
So I'd have to ask Zach then on that, because you guys went to the gaming commission, you stated that to have a sweepstakes, you would have to be no charge. But it shows favoritism for those who do enter with money as far as taking a tour, that they now have the opportunity to enter more than just one time, whereas those who did not have any monetary investment, they only get to enter once. Is that a legal question, or is that something that's been addressed?
So I was just having a sidebar with Sam, and there are going to be 4 different sweepstakes drawings, right? Or will they just be one?
5. There's at least more than that. There's the
I saw
Razor, the Wrangler,
5,
the
yeah.
Harley, the
not separate
$5,000 gift certificate,
Yeah.
and then now you're talking about the other.
Just whoever gets drawn first, then second, third.
Okay.
Essentially, what they're paying for is the T-shirt and the experience, and then the sweepstakes is like,
But
You gain an
they're
entry.
also getting the opportunity to enter more than once.
Those who pay
Yes.
and participate, presumably participate along with their payment.
But those who don't only get to enter once.
I think based on our conversation with the gaming people, that is still kosher.
Is it? Well, I can see that you wanted to get more people as far as participating in the tours and seeing that as an opportunity to increase their odds of winning very fabulous prizes, very nice prizes. So I would say as long as it is kosher with the gaming commission and we're not going to be in any type of legal jeopardy, then I'm fine with that portion of it.
Well, I'm still fuzzy on, so we're going to use this as a marketing strategy to our standard markets. Arizona, Mexico, it says in here you can't win if you live outside the U.S. So forget Mexico. That's a big part of our tourism package. Texas, whatever, so you advertise to them and, on our regular stuff. And so they get a ding from Team Tourism, like a lot of people do, and it comes up and says, register to win the sweepstakes. You can register from here. So.
Only if you
Show up.
register for the tour. We want people to come here so.
But then you're making them spend $25, right?
If they register for a tour.
Yeah, but if they're in town and there's an opportunity for them to register. They can't register if they don't come to Rio Doso.
But the registration is totally free. That's what the gaming people said.
Yes.
You can't make them buy a tour or a T-shirt or anything.
No, that's not, the way that we presented it is that if they had an entry, they could enter without purchase of anything. So we're providing that opportunity. But with the purchase of the T-shirt and the tour package, then they also get an entry into the sweepstakes. That's the way that we presented it.
And that's the only way that they can register, is if they're going to be in the tour, they can go online and register for the tour. But those that aren't going to do anything, just entering the sweepstakes, have to be in Ruidoso to walk into the
Chamber of Commerce, physically.
physically walk in.
Unless you want us to provide an online.
No, I just want to make sure we're legal, because everybody kept telling me, what's the sweepstakes? The one they knock on your door and you're $50,000 a week for life. That, you don't have to buy anything to win. You don't have to buy the books, you don't have to buy the magazines, whatever, but you're registered. If you registered, your name is entered. So when people go online and see the advertisement, it's obviously we're wanting them to come to Ruidoso. So they can't register or anything. And I thought that they were going to be able to register, and we were enticing them to come, so that they actually have to come and sign up for the Jeep tour or the walking tour or whatever tour. But I'm on a walker and I can't do it, so I'm eliminated. I didn't think that was part of the rules. I thought that it was.
No, they could register. The way that we propose this is they could register by going into the Chamber of Commerce or other, we can name other spots that they could do it as well. And they don't have to purchase anything or whatnot. Or if you want us to add an electronic, option for people to enter the sweepstakes, we can
And
do that
that's
as
totally
well.
legal the way we're talking about doing it.
Yes, but the idea behind it is getting people to come or to be here.
But that's what we're going to advertise. Come to Ruidoso for all the cool stuff that you normally do, but you need to stop by to register for these items.
Yes.
And we need to really make that big yellow letters.
If you don't want to purchase the app, then you need to walk into the chamber or whatever we identify to register to win.
And would you clarify again the limit, under limitations, limit one entry per person per 24 hours? You do address stuffing it basically with false names.
I think we probably need to work on that language, but it's, it should be, per tour.
And that's
per
fine,
entry.
but that isn't kind of how it reads. And
Right. And that's what I'm saying. We probably need to reword that. But it should, per tour, each tour is, you only get one entry in a 24-hour period. Yeah, I don't think we need, somebody could go every day down to the Chamber of
Well,
Commerce.
that's what
and
I'm
enter.
getting to, and fill out the
Yeah.
forms and.
So the Chamber of Commerce people are eliminated too?
I don't think so, because aren't they just providing the place to ballot? I mean, they're not involved with it hands-on.
Yeah, they'll actually do the entry of the people, the one-time entry people. Is what they talked about. Or we could do it, electronically if you guys want that type of an option, but then how do you?
You can't validate it then.
Yeah, you can't validate it.
They need to be
There's
here.
no point in doing that.
Yeah, and if people aren't having to at least come and register here, then you can have, 100,000 people that never even show up to Ruidoso.
Well,
Correct.
Yeah. So that's how come we're proposing
Yeah, that's
that
not
they either do it an online or on-site registration, free, or if you purchase.
So they're going to enter them into a database, they're not just taking a piece of paper and people dropping it. The chamber will actually enter them into a.
Yes.
Yeah. I think all that would have to be delineated.
Wait, no.
in
They would hand fill out a form and put it in a locked box.
And that lockbox, would they go to somebody at the village?
Parks and Rec, this is their event.
It says it's the property of the sponsor, so.
Village of Verdoso.
So who's doing the data entry?
Parks and Rec.
I would assume Parks and Rec, this is
Well,
their
we're past
event.
assuming, Sam. That's what we're in here for. We got too many, I think it shoulds and all that. I think that's what we're wondering is, what are the rules and how's it going to be handled? Because I think just one lockbox, that limits it. I think if you're in Midtown and you're here and all you see on the kiosk that this is available, then you sign up and you go. They're not going to go back down to Two Rivers, in my opinion. They might, but I mean, getting them there, you're capturing their data. That's part of the game. And letting them know what's there. And I personally think you should have, we're drawing for the Jeep. Here's the name. We're drawing for the motorcycle, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you should, we're doing the drawing for this one and we're doing the drawing for that one. Not to say I'm only wanting the Jeep, every name in there stays in there all the way through. But
I don't think we need to encourage the people that are just entering for free.
Right.
They can go, if they want to enter, they can go to the chamber. But everybody else gets entered if they're taking the tour. They're entered automatically.
Online.
Online.
Yeah. when
Yeah,
they-
and you pay.
However they register, online or in
It's like at
person.
that website, you fill out the information and it's all the contact information you'd have on the.
So they could actually enter on the kiosk.
That's what I'm
It's
reading.
on the internet.
Is discoverriodoso.com.
Yeah, you go to discoveryadosa.com and there's a widget and it actually tracks you as you go and do the tour. So when you complete the tour, then you go back to claim your T-shirt and whatnot, then that's when you're entered into the database.
But if you're not doing the tour, you don't get to register on the kiosk.
Correct.
You have to go to the chamber.
Physically.
Okay, that's not anywhere near what that says, but.
Not
I
kiosk,
like that. I like the answer.
Yeah, not the kiosk, but the electronic, platform that we're using, the widget, or what do you call it?
Mm-hmm.
The widget.
The visit widget.
Do you know how many entries we have already?
We haven't launched. We're still trying to work all of this out.
Okay, because it says June 1st.
Mhm.
Begins on June 1st, so I
That-
thought,
I drafted this at the beginning of May.
so.
I think some of the language needs to be worked on and things need to be delineated a little clearer right now. I like the idea that trying to limit people that aren't going to enter the tours to, and then having, you could have 100 times more of those enter other than people enter the tour. So I like that idea, but it still needs to seem equitable in a sense of fairness as a perception out there in the public. And as long as it's delineated and the rules are explained and when somebody comes in and reads and sees and knows what their opportunities are and what they have to do as far as whether they can enter multiple times or just one time, those, and then worded in a way to where it couldn't come back to bite us, then I just think it needs to be worked out a little bit right now.
I'm not sure this would be Zach's department. I think we're letting people enter without a purchase just to keep it legal.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And we don't have to give them unlimited entries. We can give them one entry, not one per day.
We can. Mm-hmm.
So we need to say that and then say the people completing the tours will also get one entry per tour completed.
But I thought you said a while ago they had to complete the tour to be eligible to win.
There's two options. You can enter the tours and complete the tour and you get an entry. Or you don't have to purchase anything if you show up to the chamber or whatever site we determine and you fill out the information and put it in our Dropbox, then we'll put that into the database and give each person one entry for free.
That's to keep us legal.
Yeah, but it just needs to be really explained on what it takes to win. Because the way it reads is how to enter during regular business hours to enter or register for Ruidoso visitors at Discover Ruidoso. Or you visit the chamber to gain an automatic entry.
Mayor, can we table this, get some comments and maybe come back in a special meeting to get this approved?
I don't know, are y'all comfortable with it now or do y'all want a special meeting?
No, it needs a lot of work.
I think it would come back to bite us.
Yeah,
I want it clean so that you win. This is how you enter. I mean, if it's a scratch
Exactly.
off, you get 3 bells. This is how much money you get. Everybody knows that, so.
Okay, yeah, we can line it out to where it's real clear how you can win.
This is the first time.
No, I know it is, and that's why we
This is
want to get it right.
Yeah, and this is like a creative way that we've, worked with the Gaming Commission. Jeremy Romero, the chairman of the commission, actually assigned his staff to say, work with the village. This is something that we want to hash out and get done, But I don't think anybody else has ever approached us in this manner before. So,
Right.
And I think we don't want to fail at it, that's for sure.
No.
So.
Is it possible to do something that you put in there that instead of worrying about that they can enter multiple times as far as for each, if they enter a tour, but for every tour that they sign up for, they automatically receive 5 entries into the sweepstakes, or 5 tickets, 5 chances.
I think they have it at 1.
No,
For a completed
if they have a
tour.
tour, but they're automatically, so that would give them an incentive to
do the tour?
do the tour, whereas those who do not, they only get 1, an opportunity for an entry for 1. And that would be, of course, maybe going down to the chamber or.
That would be more incentive for people to do, but then when they would make it unfair for people that can't hike, don't have a Jeep.
Well, here's one thing you can do. When I sell gun raffle tickets, I sell gun raffle tickets to people that say they don't shoot, but they're gonna buy the ticket anyway.
Well, but you're selling them, and they get to make that choice. This is a free deal, we're using public
This is a
money.
free choice, and that would be a decision, well, look, I'm not gonna take the tour, but it's a donation, I might sign up anyway.
I just want to make sure that we don't get switchback like
Of course, that all comes
Jackson's
back to
saying.
legal.
Mayor, I would go with our manager's recommendation and postpone this item at this meeting, and then that way we can put off, because I was already thinking, well, we might push back the date from September 24th, since we're already behind the ball, and stretch it into October or something. I don't know. I mean,
Mayor, the first kickoff day that we're looking at's in July. And so, I think, and, I'd request, so we're wanting to have a workshop meeting with the police department now, or with the chief. Now that we have a new chief, that maybe we plan a special meeting within a week or so. And give us a little bit of time to massage this out a bit and then come back with some recommendations. And we can run it by a couple of people. I think Samantha basically took this off of several different sweepstakes and kind of merged it together to try to come up with the rules.
I mean, I think it's such a wonderful idea and can be, I just don't want us to get caught in something, the good deeds unpunished.
And we can, put this together again and incorporate some of our discussion today and then shoot it back to the gaming commission. And
let's do that.
have Zach review it again.
Okay. So we'll get a motion and we'll postpone it to next special meeting.
Yes.
Yes, Mayor, we have a motion.
Okay, we need a second.
Second.
Roll call, please, sir.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. Seems so simple, but man, today you have to cover all your bases. Item number 6, discussion and possible action on agreement with Miller Engineering, Inc., DBA Souter Miller and Associates for RFP number 2021-011P, Pine Cliff Division, Street Water and Sewer System Improvements.
Yes, Mayor and Councilors, this is the agreement that came with the RFP, and I'm not sure how we're going to word that as far as taking action, but the agreement is for the Pine Cliff subdivision, which consists of the water, streets, and the sewer. We had 2 proposals submitted. We have been bringing before you the recommendation for Sauter Miller. This dollar amount that they have proposed, we did discuss, and that does not include the construction oversight. That will be brought back to council once the 90% design is completed and they can provide an estimate for construction. And then they'll also propose a dollar amount for their construction oversight. Right now, that agreement is for 180-day design. In the negotiations, we brought that down from 210. So we're hoping that will align with the next fundings or the next application cycle for the CDBG. So that is what this agreement before you is for.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Karen, why are we not putting oversight into these contracts?
No.
We will. We proposed that to Sauter Miller, and they are waiting for their 90% design to see. That's kind of how they did the first agreement that we did with Town and Country. They came back and proposed the construction oversight.
And testing,
And testing, yes, sir.
and it was over $100,000.
Yes, sir. Yes. I will tell you that this one is, the water portion was already, the design was done by Moles and Corbin, so they're taking that design and incorporating it with this. The design that Moles and Corbin did for the water was $166,680. So that, they're going to take that design and incorporate it with this.
Do they start the work before they do the 90% design to let us know?
No, they have deliverables. They'll be delivering a 60% design deliverable and 90%. And at that time, we should have their, what they call an OPCC, an opinion of probable construction cost, that we will have for us for budgeting purposes. And then they will also provide us the construction oversight dollar amount that they'll propose. And that too will have to come back to council as an amendment to their agreement.
Where in the contract does it say that once they accept Moles and Corbin's engineering, that they're going to live by it? Because this is echoes of sewer line all over again, that, we'll take what was the name of that Timbuktu company?
CH2M Hill?
CH2M Hill, and we'll do this, and all of a sudden that was the Achilles heel that we had. Well, we can't rely on their stuff. So I haven't found it in the agreement as to where, once they accept it, it's theirs, their work product. And because I didn't think that another engineer would take that work product, but, so how do we hold them to that?
Was that incorporated into the RFP?
I believe it was, yes, sir. The RFP that they submitted for to get this agreement, that was incorporated in the RFP, that the design that was for the water, I think it was the water replacement for Pine Cliff, that they would take that design and incorporate it. That was written into the RFP.
And we're positive of that?
I will double check for you, Mayor, and get back with you, but I believe that is.
I'd like to know that before we
Where's Adam?
vote on it. I mean, I think that's key. And then also the liquidated damages, $50 a day?
That is for the engineer, yeah. The liquidated damages for construction is higher,
Right.
but
What does that mean, liquid?
That if they go overtime and it's not approved, like they'll come to us, weather delays, material delays, and we say, yeah, we'll take that 15 days and give it to you. And we don't agree that you're just not showing up for work, or a feed, the engineer's behind on it, it's just $50 a day,
Okay.
which then could compound issues in my mind, but.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question. On the last page of this lengthy document, there's a breakout on the summary of design cost proposal.
yes, sir.
And that, if I'm reading this correctly, that includes field survey and mapping, preliminary design and final design, and that comes to almost $250,000. I mean, $248,567. So what are we voting on with this business today?
The agreement itself with Sauter Miller to perform the functions to complete the design of the Pine Cliff project in whole for the $248,000.
Well, that's just what I wanted to clarify, because that wasn't real clear in the.
Right, because in the CDBG agreement that we used, that format, they always exclude tax, so we had to incorporate that
Gotcha.
because.
But that was inclusive of gross receipts tax.
So on number 6, shouldn't it say for $248,000?
Or, well, 200.
Make a motion to approve the Sauter Miller to include the 200.
Yes, sir, that
full
dollar amount, if you recall, when we brought it to the workshop, we hadn't negotiated the contract yet. So we didn't have that dollar amount, so we should have included that in the actual.
On today's, that.
Yes, sir.
Last week.
Right. I can pull that in, but I just wanted to have it clean. It's added in at the very end, which obviously is when you came to a conclusion.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah, we should have had it on there for today. So it's on the final agreement checklist on the next to last page?
It's all the way down to the bottom, and it's a yellow block of.
Oh, you know what?
And it's also also incorporated in the contract itself. The
I
contract,
looked for payment earlier.
I didn't see it either.
the contract reads for $229,491. The gross receipts tax on that is at the Albuquerque rate of 8.3125. So that gives you a GRT amount of $19,076.44 for a total of $248,567.44.
And Mayor, members of the council, page 34 of the actual attachment on the CDBG agreement has that breakdown, summary of design cost proposal.
Okay.
In the discussions, just to further elaborate on your concern, Mayor, Lila with Sauter Miller, when we were doing the negotiations, she was very much aware and stated that she wanted to know how many pages of the design or the drawings were for Moles and Corbin so that they could actually incorporate that, because they know they do have to sign off on that.
Okay. Anything else, anyone? Ready to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve agreement with Miller Engineering Incorporated, doing business as Sauter Miller and Associates for RFP 2021-0011P, Pine Cliff Subdivision, Street Water and Sewer System Improvements for the total amount, including gross receipts tax, of $248,567.44.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay. Any other final discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 7, discussion and possible action on approval of grant agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and State of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, Local Government Division, Enhanced 911 Act Grant Program for project number 20E57 for the Public Safety Answering Points, PSAP, and the Village of Ruidoso Mescalero Apache Reservation Areas E911 related reimbursements. And is this your first official act? Second, maybe?
Yes.
I kind of orchestrated it from the beginning, so. Mr. Mayor, Council, Manager Dodge, there was questions raised during the workshop whenever Chief Gold was presenting this. The reason that Ruidoso is the PSAP for Mescalero, we're the fiscal agent for it, is because Mescalero, or Otero County as a whole, has been mandated by DFA to be a consolidated dispatch. Alamogordo Police Department and Otero County Sheriff's Office, they act independently on their own with no funding from DFA for any type of 911 equipment or any of those related costs. Mescalero, being that it's on the reservation, they have their own dispatch facility with their police department. However, they are not a permanent PSAP, and they're not eligible for funding to gather the funding. So as before, whenever we worked with the Ruidoso Downs and they paid us that amount to catch all of their 911 calls, and then we would take the information and then transfer it over to the Downs. With Mescalero, we don't do that. Every now and then a call will come in and it'll hit the wrong tower and it'll come into our agency, but it's uncommon for that to happen. So anytime that there is a training or equipment upgrade or anything like that, it gets submitted through to the Ruidoso Police Department. Katie submits the reimbursement paperwork up to DFA, and then we're reimbursed for any of those costs. So with the questions that were raised were for the 6 dispatch positions for the Ruidoso Police Department. Those 6 dispatch positions were funded and approved by DFA, and they will go into the Horton Complex to give us 3 more working stations. Currently, we have only 3, but once we come into Horton, we'll have 6. Mescalero, they had requested 1 more. They have 2 right now. After their request was approved, they'll have 3. And then we both asked for generators, which one of the generators will go here at the Horton Complex for dispatch. That's
LT, when you're talking about working positions, you're actually talking about the councils?
the councils. I'm sorry. Yes, it's not the full-time employee positions or anything like that. It's just the stations. I should have clarified. Thank you, manager. It's just the workstations where they have the radio and the keyboards and the computers and those. Ms. Letterman, you've been in there and seen how complex they are. So it's just the workstations that I'm talking about, the 6 and the 3. Everything was submitted to DFA, it was approved, and then we submitted these numbers to you all. Do you all have any? Okay.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Chief Chavez, can you please, kind of go over the line items? Because, after there was some confusion, we had requested and sent a letter requesting funding for the generators, the relocation of the 911 equipment. There were several items. Can you confirm if those were funded?
Yes, sir. All those items were funded, and including the relocation of the software from the current PD here to the Horton Complex. So all those numbers and the prices for those projects were included in the request to DFA, and they were approved and funded.
Oh, wow.
Mayor, one of the only things that wasn't part of the request or the funding that they don't fund is the tower itself.
Yes, sir, that is correct. They do not fund that. That'll be something that we'll have to fund.
Do we know the cost of that for a tower?
Of the tower, it was $134,000 or thereabouts. $143,000. Does anybody have any questions?
I think you answered most of mine.
Yep.
Okay. And I guess we'll need a motion.
I move that we accept the grant approval agreement between the Village of Ruidoso and the State of New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration Local Government Division Enhanced 911 Act Grant Program for project number 20E57 for Public Safety Answering Points, PSAP, at the Village of Ruidoso and Mescalero Apache Reservation areas and E911 related reimbursements.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'm getting a lot of texts or whatever. Evidently, there was a sonic boom that went off a while ago, and everybody thought it was a big explosion from the fire. So it's a sonic boom is what I'm told. Number 2, the best source to, because all these people from out in the county are calling, is it Facebook, Ruidoso Facebook, where to get the quickest, best information?
Village of Ruidoso.
Village of Ruidoso?
On Facebook.
Okay, yeah, but that's the best source to get information?
Or they should be doing updates on the radio as well.
Well, but it takes time.
Yeah.
Because I called for one this morning, it didn't come on for an hour.
Have you gotten any recently?
What?
Updates?
Yeah, well, just that it's starting to lay down. I'm getting video of the fire suppression, the seaplanes coming in and dropping everything, and they're saying they're starting to get a hold of it.
So it hadn't gone over the hill yet?
Now, I haven't got that information. Have you, Chief?
No, not yet. They're doing, they are doing pilot car one way at a time for the opening it up, so.
They're doing what? Traffic one way?
Yeah, one way at a time, so they have a pilot car taking several cars and then they'll have them come back the other direction, so they are getting traffic flowing best they can.
Okay. I'm sorry, these people are just, again, it should tell us how important the radio station and communication is. People are freaking out.
Ann's already responded.
All right, we'll move on.
He's on scene and Kelly. Both Kerry and Kelly are on scene,
Yeah.
so that Facebook,
Should be
yes.
updated pretty quick. Item number 7, approval, I already did that.
Number 8.
Okay, and we approved it, and so we're moving on to number 8. Discussion and possible action on presentation for proposal for energy saving audits for the village facilities and recommendations for funding sources. And I know, John, you're waiting with anticipated breath that, because you've been wanting to see how this is going to work for a long time. So go ahead, Mr. Bueda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors, so as we discussed in the workshop, we've got Dale Lyons with us with Sautermill and Associates. He'll give a short presentation about his just kind of top level look over of our facilities and present a proposal to us. So from this meeting, Manager Dodge and I are hoping to get direction from you guys to negotiate a contract with Sautermill and Associates to conduct these more thorough audits and develop a strategy for energy conservation and then possibly offsets through solar panels.
And the JUV already has it going, or is going to?
Yes, sir. Yes, so this would be a kind of a similar process to the joint use board effort. So Dale, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, Mayor Crawford, Village Council, Manager Dodge. As Eric mentioned, I spoke to the joint use board back on May 19th about solar at the wastewater treatment plant. I guess I should ask, can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let me share my screen with you. And I have not, I have reviewed the information that was part of the electric usage records that was shared with me by Eric. This was work that he did to compile 2 years worth of electric usage information. And can you all see my screen now?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Oh, not yet? All right. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Eric shared with me information that he had put together for 19 facilities, including the wastewater treatment plant. And these were electric usage records over 2 years for those 19 facilities that span 2 different electric utilities. And so I'll review that in a minute, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the energy efficiency of renewable energy work we're doing with a number of municipalities and Native American tribes in New Mexico. So in addition to the utility scale project work where we're providing engineering and survey and permitting and planning services for these larger developments over 1 megawatt we're also working with a number of tribes and municipalities with both commercial scale solar, net metered solar to reduce electric utility costs, but also to do energy efficiency work. And so the project that I'm currently involved with, another consultant that is, a well-established firm in Albuquerque that does a lot of performance contracting and energy efficiency audits, is Year Out Energy. And I don't know if any of you have heard of them before, but we're a sub to them on the City of Santa Fe project, which is sort of analogous to what you all are contemplating being engaged in for your facilities at the Village of Ruidoso. The City of Santa Fe project is a $15.4 million project where they're building a number of net metered solar systems, which are built to offset your electric utility bills at multiple buildings. Some of those systems will be ground mounted, some of them will be on the roof. And the total combined capacity of all those solar systems is 2.75 megawatts. And those buildings that they're going to go at are primarily water utility facilities, so facilities that are booster stations for the Buckman direct diversion and other wells around town that provide water from the Buckman region near the Rio Grande to the city. And so the anticipated electric utility savings from both the energy efficiency and the net metered solar systems is somewhere in the neighborhood of $750,000 a year. And there's just one utility that the city has to work with, and that's PNM. And they're expecting to get about $200,000 in rebates from the utility. So, and among the firms that do this kind of work, the energy audit work on the efficiency side, Year Out Energy is the only New Mexico-based firm with this PNM trade ally status, which means that they're familiar and they've been trained in the utilities energy efficiency rebate program. So the Year Out Energy has been approved for a statewide pricing agreement. So among the 6 firms that are on that list, Year Out Energy is the only one in New Mexico that has this status. So let me go over some of the information just real briefly that Eric has put together in this report, the electric use and regional wastewater treatment plant and other Village of Ruidoso facilities from 2019 through 2020. So I reviewed the information. It's pretty complete at this point. And if we were to embark on an analysis to do energy efficiency, to look at energy efficiency, and then also do a feasibility assessment for solar at the city's various, or the village's facilities, we probably want to just see if we could get the most current months of the electric utility or electric usage information from the utilities. But so far it does contain 2 years of data, and that's sort of the minimum we'd need to do the energy efficiency audit and the solar net metered assessment. But the information that Eric put together also included some maps that identified the land ownership so that it was clear what area was available for a ground-mounted or even roof-mounted solar system. And then also the slope of the land in that area, just to make sure that there was a flat enough space. So that's the information that's been compiled so far by village staff. That gives us, a nice head start. And the other, sort of critical aspect of that information is the rate tariff that the village is billed at each one of those facilities. So some rates have a time of use rate. So your rate is higher during the peak hours, say from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and it's lower in the evening and at night. and then other rates have demand charges where you're charged basically at the highest per 15-minute demand that a facility used, and that peak rate is basically charged by a factor from the utility, and that results in a significant portion of your electric utility bill every month being a demand charge. And so you're incentivized to keep spikes in usage down to a minimum to not incur high demand charges, or to offset your demand if it's sort of cyclical over the course of the day, offset it with solar if you can coincide solar generation with your peak demand during the daytime. So anyways, that we've been asked to talk to you about putting together a proposal for the village to review for two different scopes of work. One is for net metered solar feasibility assessment at each of the 19, well, actually it would be 18 facilities, because the wastewater treatment plant, we've already provided a proposal to the Joint Use Board to do a solar photovoltaic feasibility assessment for that facility. And so that would be handled through the Joint Use Board. And so what I'm talking to you about today is putting together a proposal for you to review for Sauter Miller and Associates to do the net metered solar feasibility assessment for the other 18 facilities. And so what that would involve is, as I mentioned, compiling the most recent electric usage data, developing preliminary case simulations using the National Renewable Energy Laboratories System Advisor model for each of those facilities to approximate the solar system size that would be adequate to offset most, if not all, of the electric consumption at each of those buildings. And of course, that's going to depend a little bit on the rate tariff that each of those facilities is billed under those two different utilities. The next step would be to conduct a site visit to determine if there's actually land or roof space available for either a ground or roof-mounted solar system, and if the building or facility electric service requires upgrading to accommodate the solar system. And I haven't really talked to Eric in much detail about a lot of these facilities and whether you already know whether roof-mounted systems would be better. If that is the case and you prefer roof-mounted systems at some of these buildings, then we probably have to get in there and look at the structural capacity of the roofs to even support solar. But of course, all that depends on the approximate size of the solar system based on how much energy you use. So there's a little bit of back and forth. And then once that site visit is done, we would finalize the financial projections for the solar system. We'd have a better sense of how big the solar system would need to be to offset as much of your electric utility bill as we could. And so those financial projections would include energy cost savings that you're currently paying to the electric utility and payback period based on different finance options. And the finance options will depend on the building. So much like the wastewater treatment plant, where the real obvious funding source for that, for the village to apply to try to get as much grant money as they could for a solar system at the wastewater treatment plant, and that's the EPA's Clean Water State Revolving Fund. There is a sister program for drinking water systems. So for your wells and drinking water treatment facilities that you're interested in installing net metered solar at, the EPA has the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund program that's also mediated by the Environment Department. And so that's an easy or an obvious funding avenue for for those facilities, and then we'd have to explore other funding possibilities for other village facilities that don't have anything to do with the drinking water system. And so, it's, possible the city would just finance the whatever portion of the project costs that weren't provided by grants, those would be financed. And so we would have to talk about, what are the likely interest rates and loan terms. And so all that gets rolled into these financial models so that we could get a clear picture of what the payback period would be and your return on investment and your net present value to make sure to basically confirm that these projects would be worthwhile pursuing from a financial standpoint. And that would be concluded in recommendations in a brief report for you all to decide which projects to pursue for financing and then ultimately development. So the other scope of work would be the energy efficiency audit, which would involve a number of steps and partially, well, a lot of this could be done at the same time, especially the site visit, but the energy efficiency audits for each building, which, what we're talking about there is lighting retrofits, HVAC modifications, insulation, and then also, taking a hard look at all of the, the patterns of energy use to see if there's ways to reduce energy usage and reduce your electric utility costs. So the first step would really be to look at the same information, the electric usage information for those facilities, to analyze annual and seasonal energy use variation and analyze potential impacts of weather on energy consumption. Then we try to get our hands on as many architectural, mechanical, and electrical drawings that were available for the buildings and discuss with operations and maintenance staff how energy is used at each facility to understand the energy use patterns. And then a walkthrough survey to understand the levels of occupancy and use in the building and the existing conditions, including lighting, the status of however many lights have already been retrofitted at this point, electrical systems, HVAC, and motors. In some cases, your motors at, say, wells or booster stations may not have variable frequency drives installed, and that's an easy way to reduce your demand charges. So those would be recommendations that we'd note. And then from that standpoint, or from that point, we would establish a baseline for building energy use, and that would be used as a reference to estimate the benefit of energy efficiency measures. And so given all that, we'd be able to evaluate the energy efficiency measures, including initial cost to implement the measures, the life cycle costs, and the return on investment. And then again, the recommendations would be compiled in a brief report with project financing and development recommendations for each of those buildings and the various energy efficiency measures. And so that's basically what I just wanted to give you sort of an overview of the process and just confirm with you all that you're interested in receiving a proposal from us to do this work, to look to do the net metered solar feasibility assessment for the 18 facilities, and also include in that work the energy efficiency audit for each of those buildings.
Okay, Mr. Boyden.
So if you guys have any questions for me or Dale, we'd be happy to answer them, but we just want to kind of get your concurrence that you'd like us to move forward and work with Dale to negotiate a proposal that we can present, or I can present to you at the next council meeting.
Well, I'm all for solar, Eric, and this might be more for Tim or Judy. Did we go out for RFP to get this engineering done for our solars on all the buildings? I know we've been working
It's-
on it.
Or haven't been working on it.
Well, yeah, but
This isn't engineering yet. This is just kind of analysis, I believe.
and right, to
And
just
then
get
if
the
we
numbers.
decide to do it, we can decide which ones. Eric and I were talking about if we could do several
Right.
at once, get that.
I agree with
Scale.
that. I mean, I'd like all the buildings to
Mayor,
have solar.
On the,
Mayor, Counselor, specifically, we would be using a CES contract if it's over the
Okay.
60,000. I previously worked with Dell, and, the discussion came up on, the solar projects, and I had recommended that Eric engage Dell because I know that he has some expertise in this area.
Right.
So, that's how that was my recommendation, to engage Dell and get him going. And then if you're interested in the proposal that he brings forward, then I would assume we'd use the CES process.
Okay.
and just to think about it, several years ago, we got a proposal on the wastewater treatment plant.
I remember that.
And it was a different deal from us buying it. It was the power provider agreement, where they just put it in and sell us power at a lower rate.
Right.
They were saying we could save $84,000 a year on that one facility. So that's significant.
Right, right. I was just, a procurement question as far as why going with Sider to Miller.
And Mayor Crawford and Councilor, if after the audit process and we determine which direction we want to go, if we wanted to engineer some projects and you wanted to go out for RFP for those engineering services, we could take that route. But this would be a good avenue is do the small services contract, and if it's above 60 to do the CES.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
All right, so do we have a motion on item number 8?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve scheduling Dale Lyons to present a proposal for energy-saving audits for village facilities and recommendations for funding sources at our next regular meeting.
Second.
Okay,
Second.
we have a second. Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Letterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome, and thank you for whoever turned their conditioner on.
It was nice speaking with you all.
Thank you, Dale, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Dell.
Take care. Bye.
Item number 9 is discussion and possible action on draft scope of work for enterprise fund master plans and rate study requests for proposals. Yes, sir, Mr. Boyda.
Mayor Crawford, councilors, so there wasn't too much discussion at the workshop meeting about the draft scope of work for the enterprise fund master plans and rate study requests. The scope of work that I put together followed that kind of general scheme that I was talking about, where we'd have a planning firm that would partner with a finance firm, and they would coordinate the efforts of independent engineer firms to do the 4 separate master plans. And so we'd have a contiguous, connected process for all the rate analysis and master plans. I'll incorporate those changes that we talked about in the workshop about discussing the pickup methods for solid waste. But other than that, do you guys have any questions or any comments based on your further review of the scope of work?
It's all good.
Okay, so with your guys' recommendation, I can work with the capital projects program to start the procurement process. So we'll get this scope of work into the draft RFP and get everything cleaned up and get this advertised early in the next fiscal year.
Okay, can we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a draft scope of work for enterprise fund master plans and rate study requests for proposals.
Second.
Okay, final discussion? Nope. Mr. Sena.
Counselor Jackson,
Aye.
Counselor Lutterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
Aye.
Thank you.
And we have no regular item number 10, which was previously number 12 on consent items. It's approval of contract for goods and services with Henninghausen, Olson, and McCray LLP for professional legal services and task order RFP number 2021-012P01 for legal services and support for water rights and other water resource issues in the amount of $80,000, including gross receipts tax.
Mayor Crawford and councilors, the reason why this was requested to be moved off of the consent items is that there was that issue that the award of the RFP wasn't carried forward from the workshop meeting to the consent items. And so with your phrasing for the approval of this process, we need to mention that you're awarding RFP 2021-012P to Henninghausen, Olson, and McCray LLP. And then in addition, the approval of the contract and task order.
Whoa.
You got that, Gary?
Well, I'm trying. If you wouldn't mind, Eric, if we have that under slow motion? What would be your proposal for the motion to be made?
I mean, can we just say the discussion or approval of award and contract for goods and services?
What? Or IFP, or the
Yes, so
RFP?
yes.
Okay. And the amount is the same, 80,000?
Yeah, so the item that was taken off of the consent item, we need to read that in its entirety as it
Gotcha.
was. But if anyone has any questions or concerns, I'd be happy to answer them while Gary's thinking about this.
I'm waiting on the mayor and the rest of the council if they have any concerns, interests, or comments.
I don't. Does anybody else?
I don't.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I move to approve contract for goods and services with Henninghausen, Olson, and McCray LLP for professional legal services and task order RFP 2021-012P01 for legal services and support for water rights and other water resource issues in the amount of $80,000, including gross receipts tax.
Second.
Okay, no further discussion?
Gary, sorry, Mayor Crawford, Councilor Jackson, you just read the consent item word for word.
Well, what did I leave out?
The award of RFP.
Oh, to award the RFP.
And Mayor Crawford, Counselor Jackson, and also to award the RFP. Yes.
Oh, and would one like to make a friendly amendment to my motion? That would be very acceptable.
I would offer a friendly amendment at the beginning of your motion to include to award.
To award?
The contract and then the RFP.
The contract and RFP. To. I thought Ron was going to come back and say it and.
Which is accepted.
It's been a rough day.
And I'll second that friendly amendment.
Thank you. So now we just,
Roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson,
aye?
Counselor Salas,
Aye.
Counselor Lutterman,
Aye.
Counselor Eby,
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius.
All right, thank
you, Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Mr. Eby.
Now then, we'll go back to item number 4, adoption of resolution 2021-26, a resolution authorizing Public Employee Retirement Association para pickup for municipal general member contributions, municipal fire member and member contributions and municipal police member contributions.
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion to approve Resolution 2021-26, a resolution authorizing Public Employee Retirement Association, para pickup for municipal general member contributions, municipal fire member contributions, and municipal police member contributions.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Some discussion, and the reason why I asked this to move out of the consent, I served on the para board many, many years ago, 2002 to be exact. And I know we're just doing cleanup work that what was imposed on us and just trying to follow protocol, but I can go along with this and what the legislature does and the governor, because I think it was even back then when I want to say it was probably Richardson or something wanted to tap into the retirement fund to do some of his projects or whatever it was, and it was an overwhelming vote of no. I'm pretty sure it was on the state election ballot to prevent that going in. And I just, I just want to say no, because the state government has no, I shouldn't say that, but no, well, it's hard for me to say, but they don't have the balls to take care of their own money. That's it. So, but anyway.
They're lacking in their fiduciary capacity.
And that's a better way. Please record that in the minutes, John. So, but that's it, Mayor.
Okay, well, what other option do we have?
We don't.
We don't.
Mayor.
We've already been paying it.
Mayor and councilors, as you know, the employee pays a portion and the village pays a portion into PRA, and those percentages are correct, set by statute. What this resolution is doing is that out of the employees' contribution that they should pay, the village is actually opting in to pay a portion of their percentage. So for instance, on the regular employees, an employee's contribution is like 10.2%, and we are opting to pick up 4.4% of their 10.2. So we actually reduce the amount of para that an employee is paying into. However, when they retire, they get the full benefit of the 10%. However, in SB 72, what you're referring to, and you will see this going on, there will be increases to those percentages that are set by statute, so you are correct. This year, in the current fiscal year, the village didn't have an increase on our para contributions that we have to make. However, on the firemen, their employee share did go up a quarter, a percentage. And I have the schedules included in the packet, and you will see going forward from next year and for, I believe, 3 or 4 more years after that, there will be increases to the percentages that we have to pay into para, both on the employee side and the employer. So that is correct. The percentages are changing.
Because they haven't done their portion on contributing to para?
I believe so.
Point.
And then the state police and everybody else got that big, what was that big bonus for hazard pay? Just over.
I'm not sure what the percentages were.
I mean, it just goes to that they buy off everybody,
Yes.
everybody's happy, but I think instead of us continuing to pick up, because I thought we agreed that we were picking up the employee share on one of these issues.
We, Mayor, we are picking up a
Portion?
4.4% of the employees' contribution on all, on general, fire, and police.
So if we don't vote this in, how does that hurt the employee?
They will have to pick up that 4.4% on their own.
And, you know, I know a lot of people that voted for this woman and that administration and that regime, and this continues on. You know, and so at what point do, everybody always tells me election has consequences, and we're seeing it. But when does your vote have a consequence, or your lack of paying attention, or, I don't know. I'm just saying that so many of our employees that we've dealt with here lately don't even understand what we're giving them and what we're playing for them, and they don't seem to appreciate some of them. And here's just another little cherry on top, honey, for, us, we'll cover your back, because they didn't have any control over it. We haven't had any control over it. We've tried to be fiduciarily responsible and do the right thing, but then when we can't even get any traction in Santa Fe, and people still keep voting it in, and I know everybody's going to say Lincoln County didn't vote for her. But, at what point, the employees need to understand, I'm for passing this, just because I know it's not their responsibility, but we need to really stand up and crow from the highest top of the building that this is what's going on. This is just one small thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it started way before her. You can go back to a previous Democrat governor.
Richardson. Yeah. But
Had some bad investments.
Mm-hmm. And I understand those things, but to not talk about them and just kind of sweep it under the rug and then here just pay it, and then we decided we just need to pay it. I think we need to let the employees know what we're doing, and then how this happened. And you don't see you see it in the papers. I remember it was in the Journal, but I don't know too many people that read the Journal.
Right.
Besides our PIO, and she has the only subscription, and she bootlegs everything to everybody else, but to me she does. But anyway.
I thought the same as the whole Harmless, it started around the same time, and so, same thing, only different area.
Yep. Okay, so we have a motion, and we have a second, and roll call, please, Ron.
Counselor Sala? No.
Counselor Salas?
No.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Jackson?
Begrudgingly, aye.
All right, so thank you. I just wish that there was some way we could get it across to the people that it costs everybody money whenever our leaders don't do what they're supposed to do. Now we're going to move into closed session, so if I could have a motion to mention the appropriate items.
Okay, stand by. All right. Mr. Mayor, I move that we move into closed session for discussion subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the Village of Ruidoso is or may become a participant, citing 1015-1H7 NMSA 1978. And item number 2, discussion of purchase, acquisition, and/or disposal of real property and/or water rights by the Village of Ruidoso, citing 1015-1H8 NMSA 1978. Any action taken as a result of the closed session will be brought back into open session.
Okay,
Second.
roll call, please.
Counselor Jackson?
Aye.
Counselor Cornelius?
Aye.
Counselor Salas?
Aye.
Counselor Letterman?
Aye.
Counselor Eby?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now then, Mr. Jeffrey, if we can